Yes, it's working. Hurrah! Okay. Go on.
Sorry, it'll never be as bad as the first episode of GB News.
It will never be as bad. Hello and welcome to the Labour Social on Labour Social. Tonight, I'm joined by Rachel Harris, by Ollie Bowler Hatman, who's actually wearing a bowler hat, by Femi Oluwole, Aid, I've got a podcast, Thompson. We've also got Alex, Political X, and John Mortar, all record breakers in my book. How you all doing, guys? Everyone? You good?
All right.
Yeah?
Yeah, good.
Some better than others. What have you done with Tansky, Aid? What have you done with her?
I've kept her in a cage, and then I'm going to release a dodgy photoshopped portrait of her shortly.
Is this going to be the first thing we talk about? Seriously. Femi's having his pot noodle, so should we talk about something daft before Femi has to wade in and take us back to the sensible table?
We can do. I always feel like I derailed the conversation enough anyway. I mean, we could talk royal stuff if you want to.
I'm slightly curious. Why do you have a Donald Trump cutout?
So, are you guys familiar with Russ in Cheshire on Twitter?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Russ Jones.
So it's just about 2 or 3 years ago, I saw his account, and it was around Christmas time, and he said that he and his brother had developed this thing where for birthdays and Christmas, I think, they had decided to send each other really terrible gifts as a sort of, ironic kind of like, let's not spend too much, but I'll get you something still, but it'll be horrible. And so then they take photos of each other, and then they show the world what they've bothered to buy each other. And they're always hilariously terrible gifts. So then I thought, I like that idea. So I said to my brother, I was like, I can't wait to show you this gift that I've bought you for Christmas. So it's crescendoed, it's just graduated and matured for the last 2 or 3 years. And I bought him, this is pre-scandal, I bought him a cardboard cutout of Philip Schofield for no reason, just...
before you knew that he was a wrong'un.
Yes, I was just like, that seems like something he would definitely not want. I'll pay 40 quid for that. And then I got him a signed photo of, who's the girl out of Towie? The obnoxious one? Gemma Collins. I got him a signed autograph of that, of her.
Everyone clearly Towie fans on the...
Clearly. I bet all of your viewers are really happy that they've tuned in for this exquisite political content. And then this year he sort of engaged. He was like, oh, I've got something for you. Like, because he knows, left of center political content. He was like, wait till you see this. And it turned up, and I was like, oh, great. Like it's so big. And it doesn't even fit in the frame. Like, if it was sort of ironic, if it was like here, I'd be like, oh, okay. But it's too big to even fit in the frame. Like,
he's got a shot of his crotch.
Yeah, like it's just a red. Like, I can't take his feet off because then it won't stand up properly. Yeah,
a wild Tansky appeared! Yay!
Hey,
it's all here.
Long time, Tan. How have you been?
I'm texting Tango, and where are you? And she's back to me. I'm in the waiting room, you dick. And I'm like, oh.
I actually multitasking. I'm trying to edit a video that I didn't get to finish earlier whilst joining a thing, but I didn't expect to see so many people.
Yeah.
Busy.
We've been, yeah. So Aid's apparently changed his top, according to one of our commenters.
Have I?
Get changed? Yeah. Did you get changed?
No, I was wearing a purple jumper for my show.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
People grossly overestimate the wardrobe that I actually have.
Indeed. We just got a super chat. First one of the night off One Angry Pagan. Thank you very much. England isn't totally busted. We can do better. I think you're right. But let's go through some of the things that happened this week. So what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Diane Abbott, or do we start with the royal family? What do you want to do? Let's take a vote.
Let's keep it go Royals first.
Go Royals first.
Well,
it might not be like Femi. It might be tragic.
Yeah.
Like, this is my theory, okay? So Aid's been hammering this all week. He's made about 15 videos obsessing over the royal family because he's a bit of a monarchist secretly.
You're pickling my onions now, Gray. Would you like me to interject at this point and give some?
Yeah, go on.
So I'm right. First off the bat, I'm not a royalist, and I feel really
course.
hugely sorry for people who probably have started following me off the back of these threads and videos and stuff because they think I'm genuinely interested in the royal family, and I'm not. What my angle is, and has always been, is that Buckingham Palace PR have a huge, unhealthy, weird hold over the UK press, and I would like to see that wound down massively. So whenever any big story like this blows up, where they try to withhold the truth or they distort it or obfuscate, I'm like, there, like right there. This is rubbish. This is them trying to capture the narrative and failing abysmally. Like,
can I point out that you've got the image of Donald Trump, who is literally trying to go through the courts right now to give himself the powers of a king. You're saying that you're not royal, and you're lambasting the mainstream media.
He's got you there. He's got you there, mate.
Like a classic Trump.
I mean, look.
You're draining the swamp whilst advocating the swamp.
All I'm saying,
I do love you.
The Trump cutout, I think we've covered. Okay, the mainstream media, the lamestream media, guys,
the lamestream
is. I just have a problem with like the like if every time I do a paper review, it's like the Telegraph front page, the Times front page. It's like a picture of Kate, it's a picture of Charles smiling while they're cutting a ribbon or playing chess with a little youth group or so, and it's like, does this need to be on the front page, really? Like, are there not more urgent things that need... Can we, like, keep the royals?
This is what I want, Aid. This has been covering up the true story this week, the true scandal this week, that in Tower Hamlets, there's a councillor who has taken a substantial bribe to keep a renewed lap dancing club license open. that's the real story of this week.
What are they trying to distract you from, mate? That's what I want to know.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I want to know about that story because that is corruption. You've got lap dancers. It ticks every box.
I love the idea that there's only one story, though. Like, especially for us, like, a bit like, you know, politics wonks, and we really get into the news and we want to know what's happening as soon as it happens. You know, we have this sort of FOMO going on all the time with current affairs, and the idea that like the royal family would do something daft and we'll go, oh, we just concentrate on that. Meanwhile, the Tory party are running off, giving the donor, you know, taking loads of money off corrupt, racist donors and causing all these problems. And it's kind of like you can see both of them. You know,
yeah.
It's possible to know that there's a bad thing going on over here and there's a weird thing going on over here. But
I guess
go on, Aid.
No, I was just going to say, I guess it's a sort of greater good element to it. Like, I accept that story will have distracted eyes and ears from corruption and awful stuff that we should probably be focusing on. But I also think it would be hugely healthy for the UK, for the geopolitical landscape, if we didn't focus so much attention on the royals.
Yeah.
And if we can expose Buckingham Palace PR throughout this week or next week or the next 3 months or 6 months and just move the fuck on from that so we can actually talk about the corruption, I'd be super happy.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's do you want my theory?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyone else?
No,
want to
shoot.
talk?
Can anyone tell me what exactly was going on? Like, I really tried to avoid this crap. But
Aid did.
what was up with the picture? Was there like a picture of like Andrew in the background?
Aid
Or
did a
Epstein?
photograph on Photoshop, and he's been trying to cover it for 2 weeks by blaming somebody else. But we all know it was you.
It was all Aid. So
It was
basically,
Aid's
no one's seen Kate Middleton, Princess Kate, for 2 months, more than 2 months, and apparently she went in for surgery. Abdominal surgery. We are not specific about what it was. She was in hospital for 2 weeks, which is a long time to recuperate. We don't know what was wrong with her. And since then, we've not seen anything of her, and we haven't heard anything of her. And then on Mother's Day, they put out a picture, heavily photoshopped picture of her smiling with her kids, which is creepy as fuck. Because you know what? If you lot didn't hear from me for 2 months, and then suddenly there's a picture of me circulating on the internet, obviously stuck on someone else's body, John Cena's body, my head, thumbs up, you'll be like, something weird's going on here. Maybe Graham needs help. And I think that that's the case here. I think the reason why the PR people at the Palace, they're just not used to this. Whatever's happened, they are not used to this. They're used to doing press releases about opening supermarkets or, saying frivolous things. They're not used to literally what a member, a senior royal saying, and I think it's Kate, I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want anyone to hear from me for the next 2 months. And the reason why I think this is coming from Kate and not from William or anyone else in the royal family or, the ghost of Prince Philip's come back to haunt everyone. I think that it's her because otherwise I think her family would have said something. And I think the Sussexes would have said something as well. So that's my theory. So she said, I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want anyone to hear me until after Easter because of whatever's happened. And the rest of the family are trying their best to deal with this. And they're really, really not very good at it. And it reminds me a lot of after Princess Diana dying. After Princess Diana died and the Queen and the family all went up to Scotland because that was the right thing for the kids, but it wasn't necessarily the right thing for the country. For her to sort of just scribble herself away.
They would have been. There were people outside getting angry about that, weren't there?
Just before I come to Alex, we've got Andy Thompson in the chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. The bloke who delivered Starmer's lockdown curry told me Kate's not missing. She's an Uber driver in Ipswich. Well, there you go, Andy. Okay, fair enough. Punninator's theory is Sunak wants a distraction and threatened to put cuts into the royal family fund if they don't help out in the build-up to the general election. Thanks for the super chat, but I'm not going with that.
That feels a bit
too convoluted.
My theory is that they were at the Wonka experience, and it's they're trying to cover that up. They don't want that royal endorsement.
Yeah.
My theory is it's actually Meghan Markle, and they've put Kate's face over the top. That's why all the kids are so happy.
Fair. That seems plausible.
I love that. Sorry, go on, Femi.
Going on from an age point as to what about this is actually interesting. Again, most of us don't care that much about the royal family in itself. It's about the effect that the royal family has on UK media and therefore politics more widely. And so in this sense, it is interesting to see where that bias comes in terms of, I saw just before we got onto this, an article from The Guardian saying, isn't Kate entitled to some privacy?
What?
Wow.
but not Meghan.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not.
Any ideas why that might be, Femi?
I have no idea.
Got any theories?
No idea. There's nothing in the UK media or UK politics this week that has shown a desire to protect some people to the expense of others. No, I haven't seen anything like that.
No, that wouldn't happen. Not in this country. Johnny Cophead, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. They have Ubers in Ipswich. I don't think so, mate. They still have horse-drawn carts in Ipswich. And they all vote for the Tories. Alec is saying, I think Kate now has a stoma. Now, I disagree with this because I've got friends younger than me who have got stomas. And it's obviously like one of those things that I guess it's seen as sort of embarrassing. But for them, they've just said it to everyone because they've sort of had to. And by doing that, it's sort of destigmatized it quite a lot, especially for me and my group of friends. And if something like that did happen, she would get an outpouring of sympathy from people around the country. They wouldn't go, oh, that's it, I'm done with the royal family now. Kate's got a stoma. Oh, I can't be dealing with that.
No,
Do you know what I mean? It's
they're weird about disability, man. I mean, when the Queen was saying that she wasn't mobile, and that maybe she was using a wheelchair, they massively made a big deal out of it, that she didn't want to look like she was infirm. They've got a really backwards, dysfunctional attitude to all this kind of stuff, which is really annoying, really, when they're in a position where they could maybe, if Meghan had her mental health breakdown, they were supposed to be patrons of a charity for mental health. They could have just supported her and, they could have normalised it, but it's all about self-interest and self-gain. So just
that's the point.
Say that. They also hid away to relatives of the royal family in like the 40s and 50s that had mental and physical disability. They put them in a home for their entire lives. Oh, hello, that's not something you want to believe.
Yay, homes! They were locked away for their own good.
but-
Balloons.
Dan raises a good point in the sense that when you look at the people that actually support the royal family, the Venn diagram of royalist and progressive probably isn't that overlapping. So the tolerance and acceptance of mental health issues and medical issues and disability.
By supporting the royal family, do people by doing that spit on the graves of those that died in the Civil War, fighting for a republic?
Yeah, but they were fighting for Oliver Cromwell, who then went to Ireland and murdered a bunch of people.
No, Oliver Cromwell was absolutely horrific, man. But he did the job of saving the republic, didn't he?
Did he?
And then installing the republic, and then the republic didn't work, and then he became a dictator and a horrible person.
Military dictator. Just quickly before we go on. Sorry, Alex. GHK, thank you very much. Super chat. My 80-year-old dad had bowel resection with dozens of staples out after 8 days. They must have been serious for Kate or better post-op care for us. That's what I mean. 2 weeks is a very long time to spend in hospital. And AIDS there in Aid Thompson, whoever he is. And he hashtags your dad's balls. So there you go.
I mean,
that's us told.
Felt like we needed to lighten them.
Trolls. Anyway, Alex, so from a historical point of view, I mean, you must know the royal lineage going back to the Battle of Hastings or something, don't you?
Probably know the US presidents better than I do the royal family, to be honest. It's an interesting thing. Like, you've got this group of people that said they're going to fight for democracy. They didn't like the royal family. They were obviously led by a madman. I don't think anyone's really going to argue with that. But it was sort of a madman to get the job done, and he was very adept at doing that. Unfortunately, he also had psychopathic tendencies and genocidal tendencies. But it's an interesting point to bring up. And I've brought it up with royalists before, and they don't have an answer to it. If those guys are saying they're fighting for democracy and getting rid of a king, and then it's reinstalled, are you saying that those people shouldn't have died for democracy? Because that's what they were trying to install. Republic. It's an interesting question. I don't really...
Well, I think it's more...
No royalists are here.
I think it's more pertinent that...
Irish.
Yeah. I think it's more pertinent the fact that the Americans are trying to make Trump, as you said earlier, they're trying to make Trump into a king.
I feel like...
These are the people who rebelled, apparently.
Well... Technically, if you look at the US Constitution, there is the argument that because he's got a pardon, in theory, he can pardon himself, but no one's ever tried it, so no one has the answer. But if you look at how the Founding Fathers set it up, they're quite clearly going, we don't want one person having all the power, because that gets out of hand. I mean, like, literally, that's why they've got the right... It's one of the reasons they've got the right to bear arms. It's because it's a counterfoil to having a military and a military dictatorship.
Yeah, I always thought that was about wearing t-shirts.
Graham, can you email me the link?
Hello, Wayne. Wayne has entered the chat. He's saying email him the link. Okay. Wayne's here with terrible internet.
I want that on a t-shirt. Can that be when we like do our first official t-shirt? Can that be like the official?
Graham, email me the link. Is that going to be it? All right, wait. I'll email you the link in a moment. Just going to say thank you for these super chats from Sam. C, right wing want to cancel Hope Not Hate as they've written about reform. Farage, 30p Lee, Patel, Rees-Mogg and Miriam Cates in the State of Hate report. And oh no, now Wayne's gone. My studio's messed up. Hang on.
I do like that. I do like the idea of a t-shirt with the right to bear arms on it. I might get one of those made. I think that's a really cool idea. But Stephen Fry is always saying that the most stable countries have royal families. I know, Alex, but that's what he says.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have a debate with him about it. It's just total nonsense, isn't it? I quite like the Norwegian law. It's now sort of disappeared into the past, but you could challenge the king to one-to-one combat for the throne.
Excellent.
And I fancy my chances against Charles. And technically, they're all related to Vikings because William the Conqueror is a Norman. Norman means Northman. Northman means they're Viking. So therefore, that Norman rule, that Northman rule, should still apply. I fancy my chances against Charles.
See, I've been saying this all this time. Bring back the Dane law.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
I'd like to see a Northman go up against a roadman. Is that possible? Who do you think would win? Like a stabby little roadman or a Viking?
Yeah, I feel like there's a video game here bubbling up.
I
like-
do, actually.
Is it like Street Fighter, but like Royal Fighter?
Yeah, Street
Yeah.
Fighter UK edition.
There
So
was a
what-
mod
Like
many,
the-
many moons ago. It was pirates versus knights versus Vikings.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Where
could
is it
work.
set? Because all those people come from different places, or they're kind of they're what would be the neutral turf for all of those people? A car park
Mm.
That's it.
out the back of a out of the
Car,
back of a
car
roof
park
park.
out at out round back of Gala Bingo.
Aid,
Yeah.
whatever happened to that video game you were going to make about Toff Hunter 2000, where we're sitting on top of a train and you've got to
Man.
shoot toffs, and when you do, like, money comes out, and then when you get to the station, you give all the money that's come out the toffs to all the people queuing up at the food bank.
You to
So-
redistribute the wealth. Whose idea was this?
We were talking
Right.
about it on a Labour social months ago, and Aid's like, I've got the coding skills for this. This could be a
I
project.
don't know.
That's my idea.
Right, you could build it on Roblox. My son is
Yes.
obsessed with Roblox.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it a Roblox
But
game.
I think I said then or afterwards in the WhatsApp chat, I was like, it would just take too long for me to learn the Roblox studio thing. I don't have enough time. If I spent more time on like a media or politics thing, I would end up divorced and I'm not even fucking married yet. Right? My girlfriend would be like, you want to spend another night in the cabin, do you? Okay, great. So yeah, it's a no from me. I'm happy to outsource that idea to somebody else.
What would be the superpowers of the royal family? I assume Charles would be his giant ears, able to create tornadoes or something.
Could be.
Total silence.
No, Kate's is Photoshop, obviously, but you know that's
Kate's superpower
I
is,
think-
is photoshopping from a distance. She go like that, and people don't look quite right anymore.
So what you're saying is Charles is butterflies and hurricanes.
Yeah.
What about
I look-
Camilla? Camilla was an adulterer, so it'd probably be like, get over here. So she'd
Yeah,
have like
she'll-
a
Oh, that's a good
I
shout.
love it, Rachel.
Xena Wanatop. She'll just kill men with her thighs.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh my god.
I've got a load of super chats to get through. Sorry, I just had to do this quickly, and then we'll get back to the chat.
Yeah.
Captain Bart Roberts, if you want to know history, I'm your man, Graham. I have a degree in history. That's pretty cool. Have you got a degree in history, Al?
Yeah,
I've got a degree in politics and history. I'll have you know.
Sounds like an Oxford degree, PPE.
No. It was politics and modern history at Manchester University. It's
Oh,
a
wrong
local
side of
university for
Pennines.
local people. Yeah.
Manchester, wank.
Shut up. Well, yeah, it is actually. No. Johnny Cophead, £2 super chat. Thank you very much. I demand the right to arm burrs, cocaine burrs, and also questionable absurdity. Which was worse, Cromwell or the potato famine for Ireland? Well, the Irish population still hasn't recovered from the potato famine.
we haven't forgiven you for it yet.
1840s.
But neither were exactly a laugh, were they?
No.
Really?
Yeah,
It's just
it
Britain being horrible to
weren't the
Ireland.
knees up, was it?
So yeah. Okay. Well, look, we've got the royal family. Anyone else got any theories on what's happened to Kate, or why
Yeah.
she's doing it?
Gender reassignment surgery.
People have been saying Brazilian butt lift.
How would the Telegraph report that?
People are saying plastic surgery gone wrong or something like that, but
I think it's mental health. I think it's the proper.
I think it's
bad-
mental health. I think
Bad
Tam's right.
thing.
I think it's mental
Probably is.
health.
Yeah,
think-
otherwise
yeah,
they
I
just
think-
treat
I
the
think she just
spectators
needs to-
back in.
She just needs to sit down. She just needs a little sit down.
I
Well,
think
we
it's-
saw
know.
with Diana, we saw with Meghan, the royal family can't deal with mental health problems. They just can't deal
No.
with it. They do the worst possible thing they can do because they've got that old school attitude of like, "Oh, just buckle up, you'll be fine." Just lie back and think of England. It's that kind of attitude. And if you actually got mental health problems and people are saying that to you, it's probably the worst thing they could possibly say.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Andrew saying that to you.
Oh, there's
Oh.
a deep cut. There's a deep cut.
It was only a matter of time, wasn't it? I mean, Andrew's gone into hiding. And now
Just
Kate.
look at the nearest Pizza Express.
Off the Woking.
Well, Sarah in the chat saying royal divorce on the cards, but I don't think it's that either, because if it was, Kate's family would say something. You know what I mean? Like with Diana, she got the messages out. It's not like Kate doesn't have access to the internet somehow. Do you know what I mean?
I think we're sort of underestimating the control that Buckingham Palace have even over the families of women that marry into it. I think when you're talking about a woman marrying into the royal family, there will be courtiers, there'll be aides, there will be PR departments, there'll be support staff who will phone their family and say, don't worry about it. We've got it handled. We know the journalists. We know the editors. We've got good relationships with all of them. Just sit back. It'll only get worse. If you talk to them, it will get what they'll be outside your house 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Let us handle it. Like they did it with Diana. They did it with Meghan. They will continue to do it now. It's super, super important to remember that whole thing, all of that apparatus is a protectionist racket. Like it's just there to protect Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and it doesn't stop until something like implodes, like the floor falls out from underneath it, and either somebody just can't take it anymore and they run off, or a journalist or someone gets a scoop on it that everything's not okay.
I think it'll be interesting, the conversation over the next few months, especially if it does come out that there is something majorly wrong with Kate, because as I mentioned before, with that Guardian article that's already come out saying, isn't Kate entitled to some privacy? The extent to which people are willing to start to acknowledge the power that the firm has over the people in the royal family, and how the situation they're put into is just not tolerable for human beings. When Kate cracks, there will be a recognition of something has to change in a much bigger way than what happened with Meghan. And essentially, you'll see debates as to, well, Meghan did it wrong. Meghan went off to America. No, but Meghan didn't Photoshop pictures to make it look like she was doing okay. Like, Meghan walks so that she could crawl, or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah, I think, Femi, to your point, I think it's a case of everyone's put so much like negativity on Meghan and given Kate the fucking like the bite, and now she's kind of like getting the mention. She's now starting to show the cracks, like you say, and I think that will just show, like you say, the firm is just a corrupt institution in itself.
Well, that's a really good reason for getting rid of the monarchy, because look at the poor bastards in the monarchy. You know, if not for us, for them, we're thinking of them. Do you know what I mean? We're doing this for your own good, monarchy.
I know that we're all like left of centre, and we're all probably very like, just get rid of the monarchy. And I fully agree that it's ridiculous to have this, like to in at one moment portray ourselves as some sort of faux meritocracy, and in the same breath to be like, we'll have this white supremacist family beneficiary of colonialism over here, like top tier, premium elite tier racism going on over here. And then over here, if you work hard, you can make it. Like wherever your background, like it's ridiculous, it's unsustainable. But at the same time, I feel like the character of the UK is such that I would, in terms of unity and trying to avoid division and cultural and all of that, I would support just winding it the fuck down. Like, we don't need the front page coverage all the time. You don't need 5 separate PR departments. You don't need all of this money. You don't need 5 different castles. Like, just have, like, you're a princess, you're a prince, you're a king. Great, you've won. Like, take your castle and fuck off. That's it.
Take your castle and fuck off. I mean, gonna get that on a t-shirt. That's brilliant.
Yeah, take your castle and fuck off.
I was just thinking, go down to like Spain, just reduce it to a smaller number, and they can have a page in Jackie magazine once a month or something. You know
exactly
what they're up to.
Like, who knows? Is it like Sweden's got a royal family, right? Who the fuck knows Denmark, what Sweden's royal family are up to? Can't we just be like them?
Yeah. But they don't have that
Way.
extended royal family, and they don't have the obsession over it that we have.
Yeah.
And I do like having a non-elected head of state. I don't like the presidential systems that I see around the world. I think they're open to corruption. Look at America. I think the president has too much power when they're in charge of government and the army and the executive, and also all of the spy networks and everything else. I mean, it's too much power in the hands of one man, and it's invariably a man. And I like that, but I don't. I'd like to see maybe a presidential system like we have like they have in India or in Germany, where it's just an honorary position, like a Lord Mayor of a city. You go around opening stuff and you represent the country, but there's no political power to it unless there's an emergency, and you can be the person who steps in and says to the Tory government that's overstepped the line, "Oi, get back in line." I also like the fact that our army pledges allegiance to the head of state and not to Parliament, because that would worry me if they had to do anything, I don't know, Gavin Williamson told them to. So yeah, it gives them a get out. Whereas in America, Trump will be, if he gets re-elected, the head of the armed forces of America.
If he gets re-elected,
Trump is now gone, I guarantee.
Do you think he'll come in?
Yeah,
Really?
I think he's gonna do it because every billionaire in the world wants him in there.
I am so worried about this, and I keep on saying it. November's a long time to hold your breath.
No, it's similar to the
truest statement.
Yeah, you'd literally die.
I don't know. I mean, all the stats coming out of the primaries show that he's got split vote, 60-40, or he lost. Because he lost in Vermont and Washington, D.C. So you're going, that's 2 states to lose, whereas Biden's just getting 90% all the way through all the primaries.
Right, but
So,
if you poll them like left to right, then Trump is coming out on top in all of the key states. So I'm a bit like...
But if you then go on the swing vote,
right,
which is the key, which is always key. So the last 12 states in the Biden-Trump election, Biden... I think it's like 6%. Sorry, Clinton versus Trump. It was 6% swing.
right.
So he needs to win that swing vote. And with the abortion laws that they just brought in, he's lost the urban.
I hope you're right.
I think you're right, Alex. But I don't think it matters because all the billionaires and all the tyrants in the world want him to be president.
Yeah, I've said before, I think we're going to see not only some covert Russian interference, but probably overt Russian interference as well. I mean, you've just had him play host to Viktor Orban. I think it's the very first time ever a world leader or like a leader of a country has gone to America and not gone to see like the president.
And also, there's 100 million that he had to pay. Somebody stood up and said, "Yeah, I can sort that out for you, mate. Don't worry. It's only $100 million." For
what?
So we think that he's going to be bankrupt. He's not, because the Saudis will step in. Putin will step in.
Well, actually,
they've got the money.
What's interesting about that is, his daughter-in-law has just become head of, co-chair of the RNC. And now, as she's got her hands on the treasury of the Republican National Convention,
that is the big debate at the moment.
Is now able to write checks from the Republican Party's treasury to pay off Donald Trump's legal bills.
But the flip side of that is she's sucking that dry from all the people that need to get elected in the Republican Party. So, and they're not going to get elected.
That's also true, and so one of the things I was thinking about earlier was like, if you were a donor, if you were like a typical Republican Party donor, like Exxon Mobil, BP maybe, and you donated $30 million to the Republican Party, wouldn't you be really pissed off?
They are. They absolutely are at the moment.
Oh, really?
There was a vote on when they got in that unfortunately didn't get through, that was to stop Trump from having access to the coffers. That unfortunately didn't get the votes needed to get passed. But there have been a lot of people saying, I ain't donating anything to you until you say money is going to go to get people elected.
Which is why, I suppose, he's now on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a video this week. Donald Trump on Twitter and Truth Social basically begging for money. He was just like, look,
Right.
if you can afford $25 or $20 or $10, whatever you can, then please just donate to the. It's just like, oh
I'm
my
gonna
God.
have to sell my pig.
I was like, dance for it. Dance for it, Donny.
Talking of dancing for money, we've got a bunch of super chats to get through. So, Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much for the super chat. Nonce Burger. I didn't have that on my bingo card, or my burger card, I was about to say. Emma Price, thank you very much. I have no interest in the Royals. Let's talk about the chickens outside Westminster. Yeah, where did they come from? That was today. Was that today? Bunch of people dressed as chickens. Chicken Richie. Puddinator, thank you very much. So we go to the remove the royal family, and if they refuse, we just go to France and ask for their help, their expertise. Too far. Oh, I see. You're making a reference to the French Revolution.
Yeah.
Indeed. Off with their heads. And Emma Price, £5 super chat, thank you very much. The President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins, is awesome. He holds the government to account. So, yeah. You know.
Yeah.
But Ireland had some referendums and they repealed them.
You should get that Republic guy on, Graham. Alex has had them on. Be really good.
Graham Smith.
The head of Republic.
Graham Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, another Graham.
Good.
Another Graham.
There's only one Graham.
There can be only one.
It's like you got
Wayne, man, we need to talk about your microphone, man. You sound really muffled. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
Let me check it.
I think it's your internet more than anything. I think you've got.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
it's probably my internet. So I'm hotspotted off my phone. So.
Oh no. Okay, you sound a bit clearer now. Weirdly.
I think we need to get some super chats in for Wayne's internet connection. What do you reckon? We're gonna start a little charity now. Wayne's internet connection. So we actually hear what they're fucking saying.
If we're gonna go on with Trump, I mean the dementia stuff is coming through.
Yeah.
He did it last week. He again mixed up. Yeah. He keeps thinking Obama's still president.
Yeah.
So I'm going, and the crowd aren't responding well to it. I'm not convinced he's going to do it. I don't see how he can get the. And female.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we said this in 2016, and he won.
Yeah, I'm very much on Trump's going to win on the basis of like if you look at Republican voters, you can talk about the donors, but if you look at Republican voters, they don't have a massively strong reason not to go with Trump. Yes, there's January 6th, but they haven't got a huge movement of we think this guy is not really in our corner. But on the Biden side, given what he's done in terms of Palestine, there's lots and lots of Democrat voters who are just disgusted with him. And especially when you think of that whole feeling of never Trump. We've been through 4 years of Trump. We've got to get Trump out. We'll vote for anybody who's in that Democratic chair, and that's what got people out to vote for Biden last time. Getting that energy twice, I think, the fact that Biden hasn't groomed a successor means just people are just bored of this.
Yeah. So if you go with Alan Lichtman's 13 Keys to Power, where he's predicted every single president since 1980.
I was going to mention that.
Apart from Al Gore, but he said Al Gore won on the popular vote, which, he only lost on the technicality because the Supreme Court wouldn't recount. He's saying no, and it's quite interesting when you break down what he says. So he goes, and this is the key. If there are any scandals, is Graham gone?
He's just been absorbed.
He just waved.
He's coming back.
Oh, okay.
But by the way, my mic has come back into life.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Go on, Alex.
If you go on economics short term, he's done a good job, actually. Short term economics is fine. He's implemented all the Hillary's promises, which she made when she was trying to run for president, and on infrastructure projects, and it seems to have done really well. That and there's Graham. And the Green Project is an amazing deal that he's managed to get through.
Yeah.
So you go, short term, it's looking good. Long term, it's not been too bad if you include Trump and his work. You go, is Donald Trump charismatic? And is he uncharismatic? I don't know. I don't think Donald Trump's got the charisma that he had.
Yeah.
I think he's got the cult. But he hasn't got the charisma.
And I think that So sorry, I mean he's had a hard stop at the numbers at the moment, and what the pollsters are saying is that obviously you got the Haley lot, you've got the people on the fence, you've got women, you've got Gen Z, you've got all the people who've been quiet. There's the people 3 months out who haven't looked at the election and won't look at the election until 3 months out, and then when they suddenly look up and go, "Fuck, this guy's not a Nazi, I don't want him," and those people aren't anywhere. You haven't seen them yet, and so and the Democrats aren't in full election mode. The Republicans have been for a year, and so there's a lot of new cogs to spin into this. And personally, I mean, if you're a Star Trek person, you have to believe in quantum mechanics. You can't have hope. You have to have faith, because faith generates a positive vibe that connects with the universe, and that will make it happen. So you have to believe that Trump is going to lose, not hope. And that's where I am at. So I just he's gonna lose.
Rachel, I love you. You fucking nerd. You fucking nerd. I love you.
There's a guy who's predicted every single presidential election correctly, right?
Yeah.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman?
Alan Rickman.
No, Rickman.
And cancel Christmas.
Yeah. And he reckons that Biden's going to win. So I'm a bit like...
So he said he hasn't predicted it yet. He's waiting until July.
Yeah.
Right.
But that could be because he said if there's a scandal or war that he loses or war that he wins or anything like that can come into play.
Right.
And that's why I think he hasn't done anything, because there hasn't yet been a scandal about Biden.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the moment, as the cards lay in front of us, he... like the stuff that I've been reading is like, well, he thinks that the parameters, the variables that are there suggest that Biden would probably win the election in November. And I'm somewhat amped by that, but I'm also like after Brexit and then like Trump in 2016 and then like there's been so much bad news and terrible policies and everything that I'm just like, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? It's like Trump gets elected. Well, obviously that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is what me and Graham have pretty much ended all our conversations with on every Tuesday. If Trump gets in, a lot of bad stuff is going to happen as a result.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the end of the world. I mean, it is literally the end of the fucking world, because America's going to fall into civil war. Russia is going to roll all over Europe. Meanwhile, no one's going to be doing anything about the fact that the world is on fire. And we need leaders who actually want to grab the bull by the horns and say, we need to stop filling the atmosphere up with CO2. And there is no one. There's just no one. And it's the one thing that I just really
this is why
about, because it's... Go on, Aid, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, this is why I basically have no hope at all. Like, it doesn't matter if Keir Starmer or the Tories win another, like, because nothing's actually going to change. That, like, if Trump doesn't get in, there's going to be a civil war. There's going to be civil unrest. There'll be terror groups, but like, it'll just be violence. If he does get in, you're going to see something resembling an enabling act, and then, like, either way, America begins to fall and play significantly less of a geopolitical influence. And once they're removed from the equation, the EU, the UK, everyone is way more vulnerable. And then you're still looking at Russian invasions, Russian aggression, nobody taking climate change seriously, fossil fuel scarcity. Like, nothing gets better in any of the trajectories that are currently mapped out. I'm a bit like, people are like, why are you so nihilistic? I'm like, because
but you're not nihilistic, because you make videos telling people what's going on. You also have kids, so you have an investment in the future and them to have a nice, happy life, not stuck on a rock on a burning planet eating a rat.
Well, so I hope that things get better, but honestly, at the moment, I'm like, things are probably not going to get better.
Like, as far as I know, when it comes to Sweden and Russia, they're fucked. If they want to try and fucking step that way,
yeah,
they ain't getting anywhere.
Right.
Sweden is a long country, but they're like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
Cunts.
I don't know.
Yes.
Old school
Welcome to Lake
Vikings.
NATO.
You've got to take one more. You have to
Late
take
NATO,
one battle at a time. First thing, kick the Tories out. Second
Yeah.
thing, get back in the EU. Third thing, Trump loses. Fourth thing, it's one fight at a time. You know, you didn't win that. We didn't win the Second World War by, you know, we had D-Day, then we had Basildon, then we took Paris, then we took. You take once. You look at the first battle by battle, not the whole war. And I think you have to fight the battles you can win and contribute. There's a million. And I say this to people like, oh, it presses media. I said there's a million activists online that have big followings that are doing so much to topple the Tories, and you just don't see them because they're not on the front of the Telegraph, but they're working bloody hard to do it. And that's where my optimism comes.
A few of them are in the chat tonight, Rachel.
Pardon? Yeah.
A few of them are in the chat tonight.
They are. You know, I'm a trans person on a channel like this, and normally when I go on a YouTube, there's a lot of abuse in the chat. And so, you know, there are some good people out there. And I think that, you know, and I'm trans, and people don't like trans people in the UK at the moment. Well, you know, most people do, but the papers say they don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you start knocking around with people and seeing the kindness, you know, there's a lot of power there. And I just take one
100%.
fight at a time. And that's how I get out of bed in the morning. I look at the fights that we win. We won, you know, we'll talk about Liz Truss later, but we won that one today. You know, ferrets undermined Liz Truss. That's brilliant.
Oscar the ferret.
Right, Rach, can I just flip that? Because I see the shit that Femi gets online, and I'm like, what? Geezer's speaking facts, and just getting absolute abuse hurled at him, and I'm like, do you know what, mate? Like, you hold your own, all day long, and Rachel, you do the same, and I'm like, and Tan. Oh my god!
It's not.
No, but there's like, I could honestly tweet the same thing, exactly the same thing as Rachel or Femi or Tan, and I will get a fraction of the abuse.
Yeah.
Because I'm a white man.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
And that's systemic racism. That's systemic homophobia, transphobia, systemic misogyny.
Exactly.
Right
you acknowledge that. You acknowledge that. And I'm like seeing like people spouting facts, absolute facts. And then some fucking dickhead comes on and is like, oh, I'm not fucking, whatever.
So that's the thing. Like, yes, we get a lot of it, but whenever anybody asks me, like, why do you keep going? Why do you keep going despite all of that? I say, well, if we ever stop, then that means that these people stay in charge and they continue to ruin our lives for the rest of time. Exactly. So actually giving up is significantly harder. It's harder to give up.
Plus,
and as far as
sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, go.
No, I was just going to say, if we give up, like, it's all been for nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, looking forward, I've said that a bunch of times, Gen Z, millennials, the future is not going to be like, that's who even the corporations, the politicians will be answering to. And they're increasingly realizing that, which is why you get the bot farms that try and hound us out of existence and giving us all this abuse. But that's because they know they're scared. That's why you're seeing moves in America to ban TikTok, because they can see that now that we're actually talking to each other, that the notion of conversation has been democratized, and we can actually see people telling their own stories rather than Fox News telling those stories on behalf of marginalized groups. Then now we can actually see what people are actually like, not just the narratives we're fed. There is a significantly brighter future ahead of us. So I am confident for the future, but yes, until the Tories are gone and until we get PR, which is the top priority, a new voting system where all votes count equally, it will stay shit, but things will get better.
Well done.
There was an interesting report that, just talking about bot farms and bots having an influence. There was an interesting thing that came out 3-4 months ago, where it turned out the top 19 Facebook page Christian groups were actually Russian troll farms.
Yeah.
So you're going
astroturfing.
I've heard people from the CIA, and I always take anyone who's worked for the CIA or former CIA agents with a pinch of salt, but they claim 40% of the people on Twitter aren't real. That's just huge numbers.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is that pre Elon Musk or post Elon Musk?
Exactly. Yeah. I've got a bunch of super chats to quickly get through, and then we're going to come back to what Femi was saying about people talking on behalf of people. Okay, so first of all, Puddinator, £5, thank you very much. Graham, remember the other day when Phil said the next Tory leadership could be decided in a KFC because there's going to be so few of them. Could the chickens today be a reference to the Tories' future? I fucking hope so. Right, second one, Emma Price, thank you very much. Biden has surged in the polls since the State of the Union address, and also probably the counter address. Did everyone see that? There was
the Handmaid's Tale canter.
It was bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. I loved it. Ray Brown, thank you very much. In terms of US politics, I just want to know how the silent majority are so loud. Very good point. Sarah, thank you very much. £20 for Wayne's internet fund. Wayne, we got some money for your internet fund. You get better internet.
Thank you.
Yes.
I need better internet.
Get some 5G down your blouse. Get your COVID vaccine and your 5G rolled into one. Johnny Copperhead, £2. Thank you very much. Dark Brandon will stop Trumple thin skin. And then, I think we just got another one. Did we get no? One more. Yeah, sorry, Alec Beres. If Russia messed with Sweden, the ghost of Carlos Rex appears. Who's Carlos Rex?
Gustav Adolphus.
Ooh,
like Sweden's greatest warrior king.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know about this.
Swedish phase of like the 30 Years' War.
Okay. I don't know anything about this.
That's like a fucking broadsword pulled from your back kind of shit.
Niche as fuck, man.
That is pretty niche. So the 30-Year War that Britain was involved with, or was this a Swedish 30-Year War?
No, this was the European. No, it's not the 30 years.
By the way,
anyway, it was the big dust up in the Holy Roman Empire between the Catholics, and the Protestants.
When people say niche, it fucking drives me insane.
It's niche.
Niche.
I feel the same when people say schedule.
Oh. He just killed Wayne.
I'm like,
can we just get that in slow motion? Just see Wayne just go.
I'm like, it's not schedule, it's schedule.
I literally use both.
You're all wrong.
I'm just going to use the words interchangeably now, just to
annoy you.
Schedule. Oh
No.
Scones.
Whoa.
Gone.
Scones.
So what I do with my scones is I cut them in half, right? And then on one side I put the jam first, and then the cream, and then the other one I put the cream first, and then the jam.
Oh, people go to war for less.
Can we just cancel Graham for that bad scone take?
I just that's what I do.
You put the cream on first, right? Then the jam, obviously. Because
on one side I do that, and on the other one I put the jam first and then the cream.
Okay, right.
Because then I know that I'm annoying everyone in the cafe.
It's jam and then cream, though, isn't it? Obviously.
No, it's cream then jam.
It's both. It's both.
Hang on a minute, you scouse. Hang on a minute, you scouse cunt. Right? There's three people here from Tiptree, like in Essex.
Near Tiptree.
Right?
Yeah.
Near Tiptree. We know what we're fucking doing.
Did you invent the scone?
Yes. We did.
Nothing really matters. We're all going to die soon anyway when the Trump gets elected.
Yeah, but what side does it go with the jam and the cream?
Just eat your fucking scone.
Just eat
Alec in the chat's just like, I don't care about scones. Shut up. Shut up, you bastards. Couldn't give a shit. But let's talk a little bit about Diane Abbott then this week, because Diane Abbott was attacked quite mercilessly by, this is a few years ago, but it's just come out this week, by this massive Tory donor in more ways than one. £15 million this guy's given the Tory party, which is the same amount of money they spent on the last election campaign. This is a fair wodge of cash. And instead of giving the money back, I don't think they should give it back. I think they should give it to an anti-racism charity.
I want to go in on this. I really want to go
and another 5 million that they've not declared yet as well. There's 5 million on top of that.
Yeah, it was 10 million, and then there's an extra 5 that's just been
Give it to Diane Abbott. Give her the money.
Yeah, let her
right.
have some like mojitos. Give her a
Yeah,
tray.
mojito pie.
The
Go on,
lady,
love.
the lady gets 40% of all abuse online.
Yeah.
40% of all abuse online.
Plus, of all female Tory MPs, yeah. All MPs, I think, isn't it?
All MPs.
All MPs.
All MPs. It's absolutely fucking. It does my fucking brain in. Girl opens up a can of fucking mojito on the tube.
Train beers. I mean, she's a legend. Everyone loves a train beer.
If Boris Johnson had done that, everyone would have thought it was hilarious. Everyone thought it was super cool.
That'd be toasting him.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Of course they would.
Yeah. They'd say there's nothing more British than having a beer on a train.
There isn't. And Aid and I try and represent all the time.
I would disagree that it's not British, it's English, because if you're going to Scotland, the second you pass Newcastle, you can't buy beer.
What?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Bowler hat, man. That was going to be my place to go
Hang on a
when the
second.
shit got really bad. I was going to go to
Have a
Scotland.
word with yourself.
Not now.
You get a bottle of Buckfast and you get on a fucking metro.
Buckfast.
Yeah, you're good.
How can you have you get
Blue
past
Dawn.
Newcastle, you can't drink a beer on the train?
Oh, no, you can't buy one, I think.
Can't buy one.
No,
Still
that's
get-
fine.
you drink one.
Guineas. I never buy them on the train. I take
No. Yeah, you buy them for the offie. Bring them on the train.
Yeah, can you still
Exactly.
drink them, Ollie?
What kind of
I
a
think you
rookie are we
can.
talking to?
But
Oh,
I think
come
you
on.
can't buy
What
them because
Scott's
of
gonna kick off about
Scotland's
that?
weird alcohol laws.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No,
Right.
2001. I was in Kilmarnock at 9 o'clock. I just had a square, square sausage,
A what?
bottle of Bucky, and yeah.
9 in the morning.
What's a square
Yeah.
sausage?
I don't know.
Do you know what? A square sausage?
Yeah. What?
I think one of the most revealing
Hey,
moments of my
euphemism.
life
Have you
when I was in
Had
the.
you met a lady the night before?
Oh, I love a squared sausage.
I love a
What
square.
the fuck
Unique
is a
lady,
square
man. Bloody
sausage?
hell.
Right, hold up.
It's an Essex thing.
Right,
No.
you Northern fucks. You
What?
don't know what
A
a fucking
square sausage?
Have you
I
been to
don't know what a
Greg's?
square sausage is.
No
Oh,
idea.
I live down the road to you.
We don't have square sausages in Greg's.
Square
I want to
sausage.
gaslight you and say they've never existed, but
Greg's are from Newcastle, and when we go to the Greg's in Newcastle, they don't have square sausages. I'm
A
pretty
square
sure.
sausage.
Well, this has been lovely. I need to go.
What's this?
Yeah, he's getting out of the square sausage conversation.
I really am.
Was
Yeah.
it a bat?
Thanks, guys. I need to run.
Oh, hey, thank you for coming on the show.
Cheers, dude.
Love you,
Bye,
man.
guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
See you in a bit.
Bye.
So was it in a BAP or was it in like a baguette or was it?
No, you like literally bite a square sausage.
What?
So, moving back to
Alex is
Diane.
broken. Alex.
Sorry.
Can we go back
Yeah,
to
Femi
Diane
wants
Abbott?
to. Yeah, can we talk about the serious stuff, please?
Like the butt, like, what were you doing? No, hang on a minute. You didn't finish the story. What was the story there?
Right, so I had a square sausage in a bag, in a stotty cake, and then bought a bottle of Buckfast at 9 in the morning in Kilmarnock bus station. That was.
Were you
Is
proud of that? Were
that's
you
the
proud
story.
of those things?
Cool story, bro.
Were you proud of
Cool
like
story, bro.
you had a buckfast on the go at 9 a.m.
And that was with my mate, and that was with my mate Michael Caine that I was on the Villa with on Sky One. The
You know, I
reality
can
show.
tell it's lies. It wasn't deep fried, so you weren't in Scotland.
Oh no! Everything was beige. Everything was beige.
I'm loving this. Femi's waiting to have a serious conversation here, and we're talking about your beige food. This is. I'm very sorry, Femi. This won't happen again.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, Femi, this won't happen again. Femi's not going to hurt you. He's not gonna laugh.
I'll be seeing him in Liverpool on Monday, so
It won't happen again.
Yes.
They're gonna come get you.
Yeah. No, Femi and I are going to be in Liverpool on a week tomorrow on Saturday for the National Rejoin March, and then we'll be going to a cafe or a pub or something afterwards. So,
Leave Femi a bowl of scouse.
sorry, what? A bum of scouse? What?
Bowl of scouse.
A bowl of scouse. I thought you said you better bum a scouse. I was like, what?
What? A bowl of scouse. For
Oh,
God.
bowl of scouse.
Graham, are you getting racist against English people, Essex people?
Yeah.
What?
That was about to be a whole different night for Femi. That.
I'm so, like,
Where did that come from? Oh my God! One man enter, one man leave. Josh has just turned up. Hey, Josh. Josh is in the chat.
I'm so sorry.
Coming in.
A bowl of scouse is like this amazing kind of it's like a hot pot type thing, isn't it? Some kind of
It's lovely.
It's a stew.
Yeah, I love
It's
it.
a stew.
stew.
Lobscouse from the Norwegian. And every year they have in Liverpool a really important day, which is Global Scouse Day, which is on the 28th of February, which is my birthday.
Hey.
Hey.
No one cares.
Oh, okay. Got some ways.
Hi, Josh. How you doing?
I'm good. How's it going? Glad I could make it 9 again.
Oh, well,
hey.
How was Fast and Furious?
You can make it 9 again. You just watched Fast and Furious 9 as well.
I just watched Fast and Furious 9.
It's
numerologists are going to be going crazy now.
Is what it is.
But haven't they been fast and furious enough? Like, surely.
No, there's 2
Faster,
10s.
more furious.
Oh my God! It's
Is Fast and Furious 9 the one with the Escort Mexico?
No, I think is that 7, the one in London?
No, it's after that.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, look, can we get back to the actual politics here?
Please.
So,
They go to space, all right? They go to
Furious
space.
Street.
Tangents everywhere.
Diane Abbott stood up 46 times on Wednesday, 46 times to speak, and she wasn't allowed to by Lindsay Hoyle, who gets to make the decision, right? And there was no excuse for not letting her speak. There really wasn't. They finished 8 minutes earlier than the week before, so they can't say they overran.
Right.
There were people on the Tory benches still standing up to ask questions, so they could have gone back to the Tory bench to keep it all equal and everything. And it just blows my mind after the criticism of Lindsay Hoyle over the last couple of weeks, especially from the SNP, that he would preside over a debate which was majority talking about Diane Abbott. And the woman is in the freaking chamber standing up to ask a question or make a statement, and he doesn't come to her.
Well,
and it's mind-blowing.
Well, Lindsay obviously felt it was more important to talk about rugby, which was an actual question that got brought up in PMQs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think there was another question on World War II as well. I think
that was Mark Francois stood up and went, "My granddad fought in World War II."
Can we get him? Whenever we reference him, can we just put him in the Peter Griffin voice? Because it's just so appropriate.
Ian Blackford.
So what's the feeling on the panel here? Should Lindsay Hoyle hang up his cup of tea or whatever he hangs up?
So for me, it's not even the lack of humanity. It's the fact that because this was the only part of the entire story that shocked me. The fact that if you're Lindsay Hoyle, you're already kind of under fire for everything that went down with the Gaza ceasefire vote, and you can see this thing coming. You can see that it's one of the most toxic, incendiary news stories we've seen in a while, and you know that it's going to be about Diane Abbott. So you'll be thinking, all right, I need to be careful. Who should I go to? Who should I go to? Who should I ask for questions? And she's right there. It's not even just the lack of humanity to allow her to be a person in this story, which she hasn't really been. The vast majority of this has been people talking about her. And there she has as a politician, elected politician with the right to speak in Parliament, and you choose not to even look to give her that right, to exercise that right. That's the bit that shocks me. In terms of the politics as a whole for this issue, the reason why it didn't shock me in terms of how the Tories have handled it is because, of course, we saw how they handled the Anderson refusing to call it Islamophobic. They never said it was Islamophobic. They still insisted it wasn't Islamophobic, just that it may be interpreted that way. And with this, as I've always said, the objective of racists in the media, in politics these days, in 21st century politics, is not to say the most racist stuff you can think of. You don't need to, because racism is the status quo. So your main objective is to deny that that's the problem. You deny the problem exists so that nobody ever solves it, which is why they can never come out and say
there's no
racism.
there's no racism in the UK. The Tories had a report. And it said
Exactly.
there's no racism.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
Femi, to your point, do you think that it's the speaker is already under the spotlight already, so he's feeling that pressure, so he's being a little bit sort of like he's curtailing his power.
But
Because
it wouldn't be bending the rules, Wayne. It wouldn't. There was no reason, literally no reason, why he couldn't have called her. He could. Mark Francois. I mean, he called Mark Francois. Countdown to Power's point now. He called up Christopher freaking Chope, who stood up. This is the guy.
Mark Francois is a fucking stone's throw away from me. I fucking can't stand him.
Not to mention,
He stopped the upskirting rule, and also last month they blocked a motion that was coming in for MPs to have to be checked to see if they're paedophiles or not.
They're convicted sex offenders, and a conviction's hard enough to get there as it is. But for Diane Abbott, the thing that she had to sit there and watch largely white men talk about her experience. She was fucking brave to turn up that day. She had to sit in her own workplace and watch, largely, one man of colour like deny it even is a problem, and the rest of them talk about her as if she's a concept. And they wouldn't let her have her say in it, and it was just so galling. Like I saw her keep getting up, and I thought, he's not, is he? I don't think he was necessarily leaned on. I just think it's just the whole aspect of privilege. Like, he has no idea what is, no idea on any level as either a woman or as a person of color. No idea.
Yeah.
And
The humanity's just not there. And there's a lot of focus on Lindsay Hoyle. I think it goes beyond that. Like, I know they can't get all 650 MPs into that room, but there were at least 100 of them in there. How did nobody else stand up and say, point of order? We're talking about somebody who's currently in the room who stood up 40 times to try and speak. Point of order, she should be allowed to speak. Like, there's even like rules within Parliament of like, when you mention a member of Parliament specifically, you should give them advance warning that you're going to be mentioning them in a question. That sort of stuff that exists. So why did none of them stand up and say, we're talking about somebody who's here, let them speak?
This is
I'd have been like that. Hello.
This is up there. So I've studied American history. This is up there with the Jim Crow treatment, the Jim Crow laws, and the treatment of African Americans in the southern states, where you were expected to, you could be seen but not heard. And that is the level of what Lindsay Hoyle's done, in my opinion. It is abominable. Like, it's literally, we're ignoring you, and that might as well be going back to 1930s Southern American states. And it's not just Southern American states, if we're going to be frank about it. People think it's just the South. It's not. It was across the United States. It was just more prevalent and open in the southern states because they passed Jim Crow laws. But
I forget.
That's my opinion. It's horrific.
I forget whose law it is, Occam's razor or whatever it is, but there's that phrase, never attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity. Was it evil or was it stupid? And you only have two options here. Either he's so incompetent at his job that he didn't realize that maybe that it would go badly for him if he didn't allow the person at the center of the debate to speak in that debate or even look to see if they were in the room, or he made the deliberate decision to allow predominantly white males to speak on her behalf. Those are your two options. Either of those it means he should not be in that position.
I think he's nubbled, mate. I think he's absolutely nubbled, in the sense of like he already had his arse handed to him last week, and then this week.
Well, this has helped.
He's like saying, can't really do any better, so I'll just stay neutral. But the fact that he's staying neutral fucks him up even more.
But the thing is that there is no neutrality with this, because it's catch the eye.
That's what I'm saying. He's fucked himself.
By taking a neutral stance, which doesn't exist, because being neutral means that you're complicit.
No, what I'm saying is that he had to. It's catch the eye, so he has to select everyone who speaks. So he had to choose somebody. So there is no neutrality. It's you choose that person means you're not choosing the other person.
Yeah. But I think the neutrality is kind of like the coward's way of saying, just let everything just go. But in reality, you're the Speaker of the House. Like, have some stones and just go, no, mate, you ain't saying that. And then when it comes to Diane Abbott, please rise and speak your voice, because we need to hear that. That would be the sort of like proper Speaker of the House kind of thing to do. What he did was go like, no, sorry, no, sorry. Oh, you said that? Oh no, sorry, sorry.
Even more than that, it should like that. It's a special occasion. Like you have the tradition where the leader of the opposition speaks, the prime minister answers, and they go back and forth like 3 times, and then you get the SNP, and then you get the leader of the Lib Dems, etc. It goes like that. There should have been a special slot for Diane Abbott in that particular thing, especially given that the vast majority of the conversation should have get an extended speech, but nothing. Like,
well, there were 3 questions, weren't there? Based on Diane Abbott's thing. So if you've got 3 questions from the shadow prime minister
and SNP
and SNP as well.
Brilliant. He was great.
He was.
Great.
And you don't allow the person in question who's in the fucking room to talk. Yeah. You're a bit of a cunt.
And let's also talk about the gaslighting we've had from primarily, well, from obviously the Tory party in terms of whether they're racist, whether it's racist to keep the money, etc. In terms of, oh, but he was, yes, we'll accept the money because it's money from somebody who wanted to support the most diverse government in history that has the first Asian prime minister. And there's been so much conversation, and I really enjoyed my conversation with Dominic Grieve, who, for those of us who were around during the time of Brexit, like I was relatively new to politics, so my only view of him was how he acted during those years. So I thought, okay, he must be one of the more reasonable Tories. But during that conversation, yes, he admitted that what Frank Esser said was racist, but then he said, no, but the Tory party's not racist. That's just a word that just gets flung around. And so I listed off the stuff the Tory party has done in terms of the race report that the United Nations says normalizes white supremacy. Rishi Sunak is explicitly saying he plans that he defunded urban areas, which obviously hits ethnic minorities hardest. You've got the what's it called? Kemi Badenoch saying that it's illegal to teach about white privilege as a fact, which essentially means denying the existence of racism. And I made the point that it doesn't matter what color their skin is if their actions objectively uphold white supremacy and keep that problem going. And he said, oh, but you just, look, you on the left, you have this idea that if you're of a certain color, you have to think a certain way, and that they're just not the wrong kind of ethnic minority. And I made the point that, congratulations, you've just defeated your own argument. Your argument from the start has been, this is the most diverse cabinet in history. There's so many black and brown faces in there, therefore they can't be racist. You can't then say you're wrong for assuming that anybody from an ethnic minority has to be of a certain viewpoint. No, my point is that they are, regardless of their color, shitty people. That's all it is.
They're upholding this system. This is the problem.
They prefer identity politics to like substantive policy, basically, right? Exactly. And what they really mean, and someone like like a good Tory, when they say, "Oh, you on the left," what they actually mean is, "Oh, you on the left. All you want to do is talk about policy," because they can't actually really do that.
Yeah. But then what they do is they get these placeholders in, and oh, you're brown. Oh, okay, so you're all right. In reality, all you're doing is like fencing up what our agenda is, because
upholding racism. That's what they're doing. They're actually perpetrating racism. And that's giving the racists free rein to go, oh, look, well, that particular MP is saying racist stuff, so it's fine, isn't it?
There you go.
Up is down, left is right.
Up is down.
Fucking Candace Owens everywhere.
Yeah, and it's because you had that 24-hour period where they were saying this is not a racist comment. This is and that we've talked about the Overton window in terms of shifting the stuff that's become acceptable, what's right, what's left, right, and what left and right. They put the Overton window of what's not racist and therefore acceptable as this: seeing a black person on TV makes you want to hate all black women. That's where they set that. Yes, they came back on it, but by doing that, they were willing to go that far until it started to look electorally suicidal for them. That's what they were willing to do.
It's exasperating. Stephen Flint nailed it on, right? He didn't apologise for being racist or misogynistic. He apologised for being rude. And now the government are saying, and he said it wasn't about her skin colour or her gender. Of course it fucking was. Everyone knows that it was. And watching them gaslight, I mean, I felt for how people must have felt that, you know, black women must have felt in Britain broadly that day, or black people generally must have felt that day. Just having to watch it, because as someone that's white, I was sitting there open mouth thinking, no fucking way, they're not downplaying again, are they?
The full statement goes even further.
To your point, he mentioned her colour and her gender in the same fucking breath.
Black women.
Yeah. It's a really
and starve them and shoot them in the wake of Joe Cox. And come on.
It's a small step to then go, oh well, he's just saying what everyone's thinking. You know what I mean? Like it really is a small
just
small
what
step
the British people are thinking. Oh yeah.
Can I just say, like in my local boozer, I hear conversations like that all the time, and I'm known as the fucking local lefty, right? And I look over and I'm like, it's a good job I'm a fucking 6'3" fucking lad, because I can, like, you know.
But it
cause a bit of bother if I wanna.
But it does show the weakness, doesn't it? Because when it started with Lee Anderson, it was wrong. Why was it wrong? It was wrong. They weren't going that further. And then this time they weren't sure if it was racist or not until Kemi said it's racist, and then it was right, it's racist, everybody, but we still want to keep the money. It was like Brianna Gay Chase it being in the House of Commons. It was like, is this a bad thing? Do we apologize? I think we should apologize. Kemi Badenoch said, we're not apologizing. Right, we're not apologizing. So who's running the government? Is it Kemi or is it Sunak? It was what you were saying this afternoon when Graham and Phil were having the bust up on whether Diane should be.
Rach didn't come out today that they've got another £5 million from that go.
Yeah, 15 million they've got from him.
Who was it who said, well, we can't give it back? That'd be like giving money back to a racist, and that'd be a bad idea.
He's got £400 million in government contracts. He's got money.
Yeah, they're giving him the money.
Billion.
But I think they should donate it to an anti-racist charity.
Yeah. Most of it to an anti-racist charity, and then spend the rest of it on Diane's personal security. The other thing I'd say is, which, by the way, I've stayed out of the conversation in Labour as to how Labour has acted towards, because some people are saying restore the whip, and I think that's an entirely separate issue. I think the issue should be focused. I think it would be cool if Keir Starmer literally said Labour will pay for your personal security until politics is fundamentally different. That would be ideal. But another thing in terms of how the Tories have handled this, in terms of moving the goalposts as to what's defined as racist, the fact that they're willing to accept an apology when he hasn't apologized for the racism or the death threat.
No, he didn't.
And he hasn't apologized to her.
He didn't.
He had the,
So call her, and he shouldn't be, because he said that he wants her to be shot. How dare he have the audacity to call her up and further scare her with, like, what if someone had said that they want me to be shot publicly, said that, and it's been printed everywhere, the last person you want calling you is, again, that shows an absolute blank spot, because you do not call a woman that you've essentially threatened and put at increased risk of being killed. What the fuck?
No, Tony, you're bang on. You're bang on.
And the thing is, by accepting that apology, the analogy that I've been using is, it's like if what did I say? I said, if I stole a car, didn't have a license, and drove that car into a nursery, and the police only sent me to jail for the fact that I was driving without a license, they've essentially let me off on the driving into a nursery and stealing a car. They've decriminalized those actions by not punishing those actions, by accepting that I paid my debt to society by only going to jail for driving without a license. Similarly, if you accept an apology for the rudeness and that covers everything, you decriminalize the racism, the violent threats, and you act like that's okay. It's again shifting the Overton window as to what's just allowed to skate under the wayside.
I said this about like, just because I committed a murder doesn't make me a murderer. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it fucking does.
No, but
definition.
To Femi's point, like if you actually do something and then apologize for the thing that you actually did, then that's fair dues. But to ferry around the fucking fringes and say, yeah, I didn't really kind of do that. I'm apologizing for, I crashed a car. Oh shit, did I? Yeah. That kind of shit. That's bullshit.
Why?
And he's flat out rejected the idea that it was racist. He said it was not a color or gender-based comment.
And he said it was rude. And also, he's got access to all of our medical records. Did you know that? He's got access to 60+ million medical records. He's got it all like.
Go to the cunt. Go to the cunt. I don't give a fuck.
Privatisation of the NHS.
Take away and prison services. It's the systems that run that. So he's got access to like loads and loads and loads of public information and data, and he's also one of the people that are interested in being at the forefront of AI. Do you want a racist misogynist at the forefront of AI?
Ernie's just said in the chat, anyone who has contracts with the government should not be allowed to donate to a party. And I couldn't.
And he should not be allowed to continue those contracts either. But they're protecting each other. He's giving just enough, so the Tories can go, oh look, he's apologised. He's not outed himself in any way. But he's got this. He's got previous for this. If you look on Glassdoor at the reviews of his company, you'll see constant stream of people saying it's a sexist, misogynistic thing. He talked about Asian workers in his company sitting in the Asian corner and making a point of their race. And then he said, there's a whole bunch of stuff that he said.
There's stuff about putting Indian people on the top of the train.
Yeah.
I mean,
that fucking thing, that done me.
There's so many things that he's done that are openly racist. And the reason the Tories are downplaying it is because they want his money and they know that it's game over for them and they need to kind of rebuild
Get on top of the train. Like
the thing is, though, if someone offered me £15 million to do something really degrading to me, I'd probably let them because I could do with the money. But Rishi Sunak is worth £700 million.
Yeah.
Why is he degrading himself? Why?
The thing is that idea is exactly, 15 million quid is actually basically, you could just say that's minimum wage because so many people are being degraded for much, much, much less money than that on a daily basis. And we suck it up, right? Because we've got no other choice. Yeah. So like there are so many layers to this story, aren't there? I mean, the other one that gets me is that, he said sorry for being rude. Since when have they worried about being rude?
Being rude.
What about free speech? You can say what you like, can't you? Oh, but they're just snowflakes, aren't they? So why should I say sorry? And the reason to say sorry for being rude is to deflect from what he's not sorry for at all, basically.
Come tell me I'm a snowflake for you being fucking racist. Come fucking tell me. I will slap the fuck out of you.
I did quite like that guy accosting Farage in the airport.
I didn't see that.
Which
what
time?
Happened?
He got Farage to pose with him in an image. And I think he said, "This is Nigel Farage, the world's biggest wanker or wankstain." and then Nigel's like security or
this is a while ago
jumped in and was like, "Oh, there's no need to be like that. Oh, you're being rude." And he just flipped back and said, "All right, snowflake."
It drives me insane.
I've got to go.
Yeah, me too.
Oh no, Al, Tan.
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Great chat, guys.
Thank you so much.
See you again soon.
I got it off.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Okay, well, we're going to just quickly do a couple. Oh, I'll go get rid of this Labour Social logo because it's right over my head. Go away, Labour Social, over my head. So that's that. Okay, so who have we got left? Femi's gone as well. Okay. Has Femi gone?
He left with us.
So, do we feel safer now we've got the new definition of extremism in the UK?
We'll come to this in a moment, Rachel. First of all, I've got to do super chats because they've been building up, and I haven't done any of them, so I feel very bad. But I'm just going to reposition the page a little bit so we can fit Josh on, because Josh is getting his head chopped off. Here you go, better.
Brilliant.
And he's not even a monarch. Right, you missed that bit of the chat. Emma Price, thank you very much. Super chat. Diane Abbott has been treated appallingly, but a cabinet minister today said he doesn't want peace with the Middle East as it's an issue for Labour. Nice. Andrew Ray, thank you for the £5 super chat. Election, my bet is that Thursday, the 27th of June, they've done this before when the lefties are on the way to Glasgow Fest to be too busy to go vote.
I've done that before, yeah.
Hey, I went to Glastonbury in 2016 and I voted to stay in the EU. You could do both. It wasn't impossible. GHK, thank you very much. Diane wasn't allowed to respond for herself stroke others. That's very true. She wasn't, which is completely disgraceful. Alex the 6th. Hey, Alex. Talking about religion, I don't believe the process can start realistically. Religion. Rejoin. I read that wrong.
Graham, read.
Talking about rejoin, I don't believe the process can realistically start before 2030-ish. What does everyone else here believe? We can get into that in a moment. Captain Bart Roberts, thank you. For fuck's sake, Sunak could literally finance the Tories' general election campaign out of his own pocket. Yeah, out of his back pocket. And Puninator, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I think Sunak is actively trying to get deposed and is handling every situation as bad as possible because he doesn't want to lead the general election campaign.
Is he just like doing a Brewster's Millions? He's just trying to really fuck the Tory party up as much as he can and have no MPs by the end. And then he gets a new
party. That was Liz Truss. That was Agent Truss doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Greatest leader ever.
I'm agreeing that the process to rejoin the EU will start around 2030-ish.
So I was going to say, I think the process to start rejoining the EU started the moment we left. Because everything we've done since then is essentially, getting bits of it back, right? So it's really just about the formal steps next. But that was the irony of Brexit. It just started the whole thing. Like, it started the thing that they didn't want,
Oh, are all of you out of the EU then? Oh, I hadn't been picked that one up, but okay.
What are you showing off because you got an Irish passport?
Yeah, well, I am a little bit. I did get my horrible blue one.
No, you can fuck off. You flexing.
I did get my horrible blue one the other day.
Yeah, I've got a horrible blue one. I think
I'm a lot cheaper just to give everyone passport covers, wouldn't it?
Yeah, when I do my thing at the rejoin march, it's going to be about how shit the new passport is, just from a design point of view.
Can I just say, Rachel, when I landed in Sweden, they asked me how long are you staying for. I was like, that's the first time I've ever been asked.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And they
the people that you were staying with?
Yeah.
You mean the people that you turned up and they were like, "Oh, how long are you staying for?"
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant at passport control.
No, at passport. No, at passport control.
Oh, okay, all right. I was like, I thought you meant your friend's house. I was like,
okay.
When are you fucking off?
Staying long, Wayne.
There was some geezer at me mate's house. In fact, it was your turn. It was like, how long are you staying for? I thought you invited me, you cunt.
Yoni, who's in Finland, thank you very much for the super chat, says the process of rejoin starts with meeting the freaking criteria.
What is the criteria?
The Copenhagen isn't the Copenhagen criteria?
It's a lot of shit. It's a lot.
I know a little bit about the EU. They would bend the rules for us. I know that sounds really arrogant and really conceited, but we are a massive country. And it's not about them feeling sorry for us or actually liking us in any way. They just don't want a huge economic power on their doorstep being competition.
They were basically turn around and say, right, yeah, we know that lot are a bunch of fucking wrong, so yeah, you can come back in.
No, I wouldn't.
We'll move it a
I don't
little
think
bit.
they'll make it difficult for us, except for the fact I think that it would be wise for the EU, and this is something that I really think they would do, to say it's got to be a 2/3 majority to rejoin, and it has to be a settled political question. Like, we can't have this like every 20 years you come in and then you go out and then you come in and then you go out.
I mean that would require an update to our democracy as well. Then in that case,
100%, 100%.
Well, that's going to happen in 2029.
There's got to be something that basically says, look, we fucked up here. Let's make a consensus and try and make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Like a written constitution.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, Phil's against the written constitution.
I know.
Oh, look at Cozy. Cozy's turned up. Hello, Cozy.
Precious.
What? Who are you? What? What are you saying? No, I'm just saying. Oh no, she's gone again. Where'd Cozy go? I think I pressed the wrong button. Shit. Come back, Cozy.
Did question time last night when Fiona the Tory asked the audience if they were happy with Gove's definition of extremism, and there wasn't one in the audience. It was lovely.
That was incredible, wasn't it? I just saw that as such a huge, like, almost unanimous rejection, and not just of that, but of like, the whole thing. We've had enough.
Yeah,
we've done with it all now.
Yeah,
every
time he spoke, the Tory guy, they were chuckling and they were laughing. And the best bit was Stephen Flynn saying, "Well, how do we stop extremism? Vote the Tories out."
Call an election.
Have you noticed that on most question times now that they're actually whenever she puts a question out to the audience, when it's to do with the Tories, I haven't seen one where the majority have gone, "Oh yeah, I agree." Every time, every single time, virtually no one will agree. It's almost like she's contracted to just ask a question about, that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I think,
but do you think that is contractual, as you say, or do you think that is like something that she's thinking maybe kind of like getting traction with the audience?
I think it's free marketing because her husband runs a marketing company for the Tories, and she's just doing some polling for him.
Oh, okay.
That's my weird guess.
Yeah, that's why my stutter was there.
Yeah, and I've been wondering about this. Like we were talking about whether Lindsay Hoyle should resign, right? But like there are so many other figures across like the political discourse outside of Parliament. So Koonsberg, for another one.
Koonsberg.
Do you think when the Tories are finally gone, do you reckon there's just going to be this mass exodus of all of these people?
I hope so.
Or what do you think's going to happen? Because
I think if once Labour's been in a while, I think then the BBC will become unclogged, the Charity Commission, the EHR, the Equality and Human Rights Commission, IPSA, all that stuff. I think they'll unbung them with all their cronies. I mean, they'll argue that Labour will put all their people in, but I just think they won't do evil deeds. I just think they'll just do normal stuff. That's what I want: normality and boredom.
Sorry.
Oh, what? No, that's what we need from fucking politics. Just boredom.
Yeah.
Just fucking boring.
It should be boring.
I think also just
grey shit. Just everyone should be grey.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? It's like people who are really into Dungeons and Dragons and they don't want all CGI shit. They just want to roll a dice and play this geeky game.
Yeah.
And like that's what politics needs to go back to. Forget about the CGI. Forget about all the bangs and whistles and the superhero movies and things like that. People get back to basics.
Yeah.
Politics is boring.
All I want to do is go and fucking shift bricks and fucking do energy assessments and all that fucking caper, right?
Yeah.
You cunts just fucking do what you do. That's boring, and I don't really want to care. I don't really want to care.
I want to go back to not caring about politics. Yeah.
Let me make an argument against all that, though. Of course, right? And that is the classic thing that happens, and what is part of the cycle that we've been stuck in for a long time, is that when there are, what we would maybe say a more reasonable group of people running the country, firstly, they become more reasonable in terms of, wanting to create balance and fairness. And so that lets in the extremists from the other side to start taking control of places again, like the BBC. So that will happen while that's going on. And at the same time, we will stop paying attention because we're much happier with how things are. And so we reduce the pressure as well. So actually the right wing will just, again, they'll be the most influential group. Again, right?
I disagree because if you are politically astute, you will go in and be like, what the fuck you doing?
When's that happened?
What?
But when has that happened? When has our side done that?
When no, our side. I'm not on anyone's side. I'm just saying, like, if you are politically astute and you say, like, come on, dial it back. Like you can't keep doing this. That's the whole point. If you're like submissive, you'll just like get rolled over.
But that's what happens. That's what I'm saying.
No, but if you're politically astute, you'll go, no, we ain't fucking having this.
Right, but that's why I asked. So when has that happened in the past, when someone politically astute has actually stood their ground as well? Because Biden's a good example, right? Biden has rolled over and like day one was saying, we need to be bipartisan. We need like agreement across the House and all this stuff, right? And of course has had most of his policies that he wanted to go through completely demolished as a result. So like we don't stand up for ourselves. We just kind of, we fight for balance, which is non-existent.
Yeah, it is. But it's Michelle Obama, isn't it? When they go low, we go high. And we going high, they still go low and they kick you in the balls.
Well, because we don't go high, we stand in the middle. Going, well,
we argue amongst ourselves. That is the biggest problem with the left. The right just reassemble like the fucking T-1000. Do you know what I mean? They just like gloop together. And you're like, how can this happen? We saw it in 2017. We saw it in 2019. They will do it again. If we let them. That's why the Tories need to be destroyed in this election. They need to be absolutely 100% wiped out. Their ideology, their mantra, everything.
But going to my positivity again, because I'm really annoying like that, is that I didn't know anything about politics. It was beer and, how much is beer, how much is wine, how much is petrol for me, taxes, right up to about 6 years ago. I was doing trans training and doing talks and stuff. It was very straightforward. Everything was moving forward. And suddenly people were trying to take my rights away. I was starting getting hate stuff. And why is this happening? And then
sounds familiar.
And then you start digging a bit, and that's when I started watching Phil's channel, and that woke me up to sort of politics, and I started to understand a bit more, and started watching more of the people on this channel. And it was a bit like the Matrix. I started, welcome to the real world. You suddenly realize, like, Jesus, who are all these people trying to fuck me over? And Tufton Street, the Tories, the donors, the policies, and you realize, my God, and in a way, the good thing is that most people wouldn't know this stuff was going on. But I think so many women are fighting for their rights. LGBT people are fighting for their rights. Black people are fighting for their rights. People are becoming more aware, and YouTube channels are helping. But I think there are so many more people suddenly going, hang on a minute, why can't I work 40 hours a week? Why can't I pay my electricity bill? People are waking up. So their evilness is waking a kind of revolution up in a way, which is, it has to be good.
Their greatest skill is creating activists.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's like Brexit. Brexit caused the biggest pro-EU movement in the continent to exist in Britain.
Yeah.
But hi, Cozy. Hi, Cozy. You're here. How you doing?
I don't know what happens on a Friday at 9 o'clock. I just disappear into a temporal vortex.
Do you? But you're here now, and that's what matters. No, it's all right. Honestly, if you turned up earlier, there were 9 of us on the chat. So, like,
I know.
You wouldn't have faces on the screen, or you would have been like,
oh, well, there you go.
You would have to make everyone really small. So actually do us a favor.
Ben.
I'm going to quickly go through the super chats that have come in, and then I'm going to have an argument with Cozy about whether it should be rejoin or join.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God.
Okay, so Alan Poe, £5 super chat. Thank you very much. Let me do this. Haven't heard I haven't heard a new 3-word Tory policy lately. unless it's general election now, is one of theirs. It's not.
It's not racism.
It's not racist. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
GHK, it's not racist. Yeah, that's their new thing. It's not racist. GHK, no written constitution, just proportional votes. That's from GHK. That Phil will go along with that. Phil's not a big proponent of having a written constitution. We've discussed it a few times on the agenda. Captain Bart Roberts.
No written constitution, no EU membership.
Hang on. Yeah, but it benefits the people who are in charge at the time that the Constitution's written. That's Phil's point. No. And also, well, we'll talk about it in a moment. Let me just get Captain Bart Roberts. Super chat, thank you very much, Captain Bart Roberts. Do mad stuff. And that's a quote by Demonic Cummins. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, Cozy, what are you saying? Let's have a stalwart defense of a written constitution. Because I would quite like one, but Phil reckons it'll be a bad idea.
Look, I'm not being funny. I'm a trustee of a charity. I used to run a community group. I work professionally for another charity. All of them have constitutions. You can't run an 8-year-old's football team without a constitution. Okay? A constitution is a very, very basic, simple set of rules. It doesn't benefit one side or another side. It benefits human beings. It benefits your citizens. It governs how your democratic processes work.
Yeah, but Cozy, would you like the Tories to make a written constitution now? They're in power. They could write a written constitution.
There are
that'll be our
templates for constitutions.
No, but they wouldn't take it. They would just make it like rich people get everything. And they will make that the constitution, and that will be our constitution in the next 200 years.
Right, Graham, clip what Cozy said first, because that is exactly what we need to fucking hear. That's exactly what we need to be telling people.
How is having a written constitution not beneficial to the UK?
Because the Tories are in power right now.
Yeah.
And they would
It doesn't matter who is in power. A written constitution would be written by a constitutional commission.
Would it?
Of course it would. What do you think the Scottish are doing?
But yeah, but the Scottish aren't run by the Tories.
Oh, Graham, come on.
Yeah, the Tories are. Where's that copy of 1984 I left on the desk? Right, we're going to write a constitution.
Hey, listen, I'm actually for a written constitution. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because this is what Phil Morehouse would be saying if he was here right now. He'd be like, look at the American Constitution. It enshrines the right to have a gun. That's messed up America.
Fuck off.
It doesn't do anything for American
talking about a constitution of the 18th century. We're talking about a constitution of the 21st century. A constitutional commission nowadays would sit down and look at the other constitutions of other modern democracies around.
The Tories wouldn't, though. Can we wait until the Tories aren't our leaders anymore?
The Tories writing it. It would be a commission.
No, but they'll make it so it was.
Body.
Graham, just calm your fucking tits.
Yeah, I think you're underestimating the evilness of the Tories. Calm your tits. Hang on, we have a super chat.
Again, the Tories are never going to write a constitution because they're going to argue that we've got a constitutional arrangements and that's good enough. And why do it? Because they are not interested in the benefit of the country. They're not interested in the rule of law.
Yeah.
Most countries have ex post facto laws, that's retroactive laws, banned by their constitutions, except the UK.
Yeah.
That's why the UK was able to take my acquired rights away from me. And
but any country that left the EU, any country that left the EU would be allowed to do that. If that happens in Hungary, they have a written constitution, but if Orban takes them out of the EU or gets them kicked out of the EU, they'll lose their freedom of movement.
Huh? That's not the rights I'm talking about.
What rights are you talking about?
You think I'm talking about freedom? I've still got freedom of movement, my darling.
Oh,
you don't. I do. Sorry.
All right, show off.
Staying quiet now.
Look at Cozy.
It's not my freedom of movement that was taken away from me. It was my right to become a British citizen that I acquired in the 1990s on the basis of residence that started before the EU existed.
Yeah.
It wasn't Brexit that removed my rights.
Yeah, but would that have been helped by a constitution, a written constitution?
A written constitution would have made it impossible to retroactively implement EU Directive 2004/38 and to illegally and unlawfully implement the CSI rule,
Why
which
would that
has
be mentioned
since
in a constitution, though?
been ruled to be illegal.
Why would that be mentioned in the constitution? That seems like very specific.
Because it was retroactively implemented. So a constitution might say you can't make laws that criminalize something you did in the past. If they bring in a law tomorrow...
But I wouldn't mind that, because that would mean that we could bring in laws to say that the Tories shouldn't have given billions of pounds of our money to their friends for dodgy PP that didn't work, and we could throw them all in jail for the rest of their lives.
My speaker's not working.
40-15.
Where does that sit with fairness?
Well, it'd be incredibly fair. It'd be the Tories all going to jail. Not only would it be fair, it would also be hilarious and very satisfying.
It might be satisfying until you're on the receiving end.
Yeah. Well, you know what? All things being
that's
equal.
the whole point
all
about
things being
human
equal.
rights and about citizens' rights, and actually about any kinds of rights.
Yeah, but we don't want
They
any
need to
more
be
human rights
universally
here,
applicable.
Cozy. We want to get rid of human rights. Because
you're playing that game. Yeah, well, if the British want to get rid of human rights, then I can't help them. And if the British people won't stand up against the removal of their human rights, then I'm sorry, let this island sink. I can't help you. But if you want to become a member of the EU, you've got to have a written constitution, like it or not.
Cozy, I'm not having that. You're not letting this island sink. Canvey Island, yeah, that can fucking sink. But...
Sorry, what was that?
We're all going underwater. Climate change. I mean, you know, that is happening.
Pennines might be all right.
I'll be all right. I live on top of a hill.
Yeah, me too.
Canvey's going. Climate change. Canvey's going.
I know how to operate a boat. Sorted.
I'm still sort out your mold problem, mate.
Yoni, who's from Finland, has put in the super chat. Thank you very much. That's very generous. Thank you. A written constitution is basically the only way to set firm limits on what the executive can do. What Britain has now is unenforceable conventions.
Yeah, it's just.
That's a really good way of putting it.
If that's what you're saying, Yoni, then I agree with you. And you've destroyed my argument.
But not with me, eh?
No, I just agree. I think we should have a bit of constitution. I just don't want the Tories writing it.
That's an understandable sentiment. Totally, that's an understandable sentiment, but I don't think it would be the Tories writing it for multiple reasons.
It's just ambiguous fucking nonsense. That's our entire fucking setup.
Yeah. And look, I'm not being funny. The constitutional arrangement of the UK was, is a product of its time. It was suitable in the past, but now it isn't anymore. So let's evolve. Let's get with the program.
Yeah, it was fine when you had politicians that were sort of semi-decent. An unwritten constitution, an unwritten Bill of Rights works. But when you've got a bunch of fuckers in who are trying to take everybody's rights, you need something to measure that against, so you can take them to a Supreme Court. Because at the moment, governments like the Tories will say, well, it's a convention. Oh, well, it's not written down. Oh, well, yeah, we can break conventions. We can, because it's not law and we can't challenge it, but we can challenge something that's written down in a Bill of Rights. And that's and that's why it does need to be written down, but not by the Tories, as Graham rightly says. It needs to be, you need to get your best, academic scholars down to write it down. You probably have cross-party membership and you take your time over it. But it certainly doesn't need to be written by one party.
Let's be real.
You want to be speaking in 10 days' time, in a week's time, at the National Rejoin March. If you want to rejoin, you need a constitution and it's got to be written down.
Well, are you even going to be at this National Rejoin March, Cozy?
Well, seeing that, okay, great.
Wow,
that's over the water from you.
Well, first of all, why should I go and jeopardize my immigration status?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Are you aware of the rules that
yeah.
the
This is the
immigration
new rules the
that
Tories
have
have brought
been
in.
made and the protest rules that have been made recently?
If you
I
protest,
get arrested, I get deported.
Yeah, we will deport you back to a country where you don't know anyone and you don't have any.
There you go, Graham. Well,
I don't have a job in Germany.
I mean, this is the this is one of the
my
reasons that
children
people
don't speak the language.
This is one of the reasons that people don't fight and stand up for the things that they need, because things have been put in place to not necessarily make them illegal, even, but to disincentivize that kind of action.
But it's not only that. I also feel that
not only that. There's
this
hundreds
is
of
a
reasons.
fight for British citizens. You can't rely on EU citizens to fight your fight for you. It's your country.
100%.
Yeah, but I just want to go to the pub with you afterwards for a drink.
I'll support you, but I'm not being funny. I have eight commitments on that day. Everything is happening on the 28.
My God, you're
I'm not
popular.
quadruple booked. I'm octuple.
Are you flexing here, Cozy?
No, seriously. From
I would come to your march, but I am far too popular.
6, I'm octuple booked. I have no idea how I'm going to handle it, because I
bet you come the pub afterwards.
I'm actually supposed to be in Paris.
I better see you in the Jack afterwards.
I'll try and actually, that's why I'm trying to drag you guys to the Hong Kong Scousers event for a cup of tea instead.
Well, we might come to that. It's going to be me and Femi and Madeleine Kay and Ben Chambers is going to be there.
I do want to catch up with you guys.
You've got 8 better things to do, though, Cozy, than get us back in the EU. But
I would love to welcome the UK back into the EU if British people can meet their neighbours at eye level.
Yeah.
And not be exceptionalist and not think they're so special that they can waltz in and have opt-outs without meeting the requirements that everybody else has met.
Do you know how much grief I get from my fellow podmates from they're like, you're not part of the EU anymore. You're not part of the fucking European Union anymore.
Sorry about that.
All the fucking time. Every time I start a podcast with my guy from
European, so
from Sweden, and then my other guys from Chicago and Orange County. They're like, you're not even European anymore, are you? I'm like, no,
you're still European. You're just not a member of the European Union anymore. And
geographically, we're definitely
Europeans.
Yeah, we're sandwiched between Ireland and France.
You're European adjacent.
Well, no, you're still European. You're European in the same way as Ukraine is European.
We're literally attached by a tunnel. We are so European, it's painful.
I've never been through the tunnel.
I'm European, so is my wife.
Sort that out.
Yoni in the chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. A written constitution is basically the only way to set firm limits on what the executive can do. What Britain has now are unenforceable conventions. Yep. And then there was another point about the fact that if we had got a written constitution, we wouldn't have been able to do devolution for Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, because
arguably, you might have had to make a change to your constitution.
Because what we basically did was had a non-written down constitution, which meant that anything that we did, we could just make up on the fly. So
a couple of points here. Sfax has said, to be honest, I wouldn't fancy Labour writing a constitution on their own as well, which is a good point. Yeah. And Aidan Rutter is saying, I want a codified constitution written, but only after PR and English federalisation.
Yeah.
So,
it's
a long road, isn't it?
You know what? That is exactly the sort of thing that could be written into a constitution. So that would be part of the same process.
Yeah, one battle at a time.
Because the thing
and actually, I wholeheartedly agree that PR is the absolute number one priority. Number one.
Yep.
Well, there's
I even prioritize that above human rights abuses.
We've got proportional representation, but also press regulation. And I actually think press regulation has to come first, because the control that they have over the popular imagination of this nation is ridiculous and disgraceful. And we need press reform, And with that will come more people
not-
being aware of what's going on. And
Not
pushing
at
us
the
towards-
expense of freedom of the press.
Yeah.
We don't have freedom of the
You know,
press.
you can't lie.
We've got freedom of TikTok. We've got freedom of YouTube. We don't have freedom of
No,
the press.
but to Cozy's,
They're all owned by
Cozy's
billionaires.
point-
I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire.
To Cozy's point, like if you've got like a free press, they can do what they like. But if you have a codified, written down regulation of everything,
That's
then-
regulation.
then you've got boundaries. You've got
Yeah.
boundaries that like, so there's no.
Levinson too.
This is the thing. So like freedom of the press means that essentially they would be free to lie, right? Because you wouldn't
But it
be.
doesn't. I'm
Hang on,
sorry.
hang on. No, I haven't finished yet.
Yeah.
They would be free to lie because you wouldn't be policing their editorial before they published things, right? But that there would be repercussions and accountability when they did,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's how you don't shut the press up, right? You let them say whatever the hell they want, but not get away with it when it's clearly abusive or misinformation.
Yeah.
So none of these things are like binary ideas or in concepts. You know, there are multiple levers and dials for all of these things, and you need to I think consider regulations as systems rather than
I agree. I think if you own a newspaper or a television channel, you have to live in the country that you're wrecking with your newspaper and the channel. So I think that'd be one thing. I mean, it's interesting with the Telegraph because they're trying to block the Saudi deal because the CNN guy is sort of heading that up, and and they're trying to block that because I think secretly they want Paul Marshall to own the Telegraph, and that is, but America's
Father of the banjo player from Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons.
Which I'll never get bored of telling people.
But I think
don't
it's really
get
interesting
me going on that.
how they're trying to control that because just because they're trying to stop TikTok control from China in America because obviously we were talking about that earlier with Gen Z and stuff.
Yeah.
But here it's like, well, we don't want Saudi Arabia they've already, the guy from CNN, that deal from Red, whatever its name, they said, Saudi Arabia has no editorial control. They're not there. They're just the money. The CNN guy's coming in, Alistair, what's his name? George Osborne's fronting it here, but I don't think that all of a sudden foreign investment and people living outside the country, the Tories are against that now. And no, because it's not Paul Marshall, and the people that we want to run it, so we can still write the hideous things that we write. And that is a really interesting switch from they don't mind the owners living abroad and being non-doms, but now it's really important that we have no external influence.
Which is a reason, a similar reason that you wouldn't want the Conservatives to be in charge of the constitution writing process as well,
absolutely.
right? Because while these things should affect everyone equally, just like human rights, it really does matter who's in charge of writing them in the first place. It really does matter, right?
Definitely.
So,
weirdly though, GB News is probably in favor of PR.
But this
Conservative Post wrote an article 3 or 4 years ago in favor of it because I think they saw the writing on the wall.
I think all press should be completely neutral, like just not. There's no like
spin.
Yeah, no sway either way, because it's like basically
tell us what happened.
Yeah,
that's what the press should do.
Like,
it should tell us what happened, not here's my opinion about that thing that happened.
No,
that's the way the
there should be there should be no there should be no press. It should just be
here.
We're recounting what's going on right now.
But
that's it.
Yeah.
End of.
It shouldn't be opinion. It should be news.
And
if you're a
definitely
newspaper.
not by politicians.
But they don't do the invest. I mean, they do a bit of investigation, but mostly the Reuters teleprinter goes and they rip off the story. Write that with a right pin. Write that with a left pin. Write that with the middle of the road. I mean, there's not much sticking down in anymore. Occasionally it happens, and it's always really good to see. Well, like they have done with the racism thing recently. When they, the Guardian has dug into that, and that's been great. But you very rarely see these big stories breaking in that way, which is a shame.
Have you seen the Daily Mail?
Just quickly before we go on, Andy Thompson, thank you very much. I'm calling balls on a constitution holding the executive to account. Closing Parliament illegally was illegal, and NAFL happened. if they break a constitution, who will do anything about it? And we're seeing this in the US at the moment. They have a very famously written constitution that actually probably causes more problems than it solves. And if we have a constitution now in 2024, what's that going to be like in 2224?
I mean, that's
and then sorry, I've got one more, and I'll come back to you, Rachel. GHK, £2 super chat. PR will guarantee progressive UK because of demographics. I don't necessarily agree with that, because like any population anywhere in the world, you're going to have a section of people who are very politically engaged, know what's going on, and are progressive, and the majority of them are progressive. Great. But there was a huge chunk of people out there who don't give a shit about politics. And they will read a headline and just read it at face value and not look into it anymore because they've got busy lives to get on with. And I completely understand that. And I'm not putting it on everyone to go and get a politics degree. But I do feel like that people like that would be prone to manipulation by the rich. Even if they don't own the newspapers, they can still buy bot farms, they can still buy fake accounts, they can still buy whatever the hell they want. They can buy people to do their bidding, and they can manipulate the social contract in that way. And we saw that in 2016 with the Brexit referendum, where Cambridge Analytica waded in and started sending little old ladies who didn't have an opinion about the EU, literal adverts saying that the EU was going to take away their cups of tea.
Graham,
kill the polar bears.
Graham, to your point, I overhear conversations every fucking day in my local pub about people that hear things and they
someone in the chat earlier says you need to go to a better pub.
Yeah.
but it's just one of them things. You overhear the conversations in pubs, and you want to walk over there and go, "Are you having a fucking laugh?"
Yeah, somebody that I know, I've known for a long time, not well, just came up to me and said, "I'm filing reform this year. I've had enough." And I said, "Why are you filing reform then?" And he said, "Oh, it's because they're coming off the boats, they're getting mercs in the houses." And I went, that was what he said. And my wife was just, what the? And I said,
"Oh my God, they're getting Mercedes."
Getting that from? And I'm thinking that's why you need a constitution in a way that's, that is written in a strong way to protect people like that from the people that you're talking about, people who manipulate people like that to think that stuff.
What could you put in the constitution to stop that, though? The rich manipulating people who don't give a shit about politics.
I'm not a constitution writer, but I think there's going to be, you'd have to have, there are layers of law in some progressive democracies. Going back to the original point, we know that the Americans are wedded to their constitution. It's bloody hard to change it. It shouldn't be easy to change it. Don't get me wrong. But we know that you don't wedge it. It's got to live and breathe the society that it's reflecting. So and the American Constitution, the way that they are locked into that has been its undoing. And I think you have to have a living, breathing constitution, which is hard to change, but not as hard as the American one. And that comes again, it's constitutional choice. Scholars have to sit down and go, right, constitution, doing this from scratch. America is that way. And, we're looking at islands that's like that. And just trying to piece together the good bits.
Yeah.
But bigger brains than mine.
Jeff True has written in the chat, line 1 of the Constitution. The Constitution will be rewritten every 50 years by a cross-party lay members committee.
Lovely idea.
Nice idea.
I would actually make it every 27 years, which is, I think, what Jefferson wanted it to be in America.
I would say, the phrase I would use is continuous monitoring, measurement, and improvement.
Like it.
Right? Because you can't just accept that
Regular
things
reviews.
are functioning for any period of time, because we don't.
But I would still argue that the first line of the German basic laws, which is what we call our constitution, and there are historical reasons for why we didn't change it to the name constitution when we had a chance. I think their first line, or our first line, is still should still be a priority.
What is the first line? Sorry.
The dignity of a human is untouchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to start with what is it to be human?
Yeah, so I think,
human rights.
Principles can last a hell of a lot longer and should do.
And that's what a constitution is about.
Mostly, except of course they haven't always looked like that, because things are written in the context of the society at the time as well. So things like guns.
And in that sense, the UK is cursed by not having been invaded for the best part of 1,000 years.
But
Germany got a new constitution by virtue of capitulating unconditionally.
But that's why the super chatter came in and gave a good synopsis of saying, like, do you know what, we should implement something and then reinvestigate it in a certain period of time. So that makes sense.
And you have the right kind of time frame for whatever it is that needs reviewing. Some things need reviewing a lot more often, of course. And I would say that you might make the argument for breaking a constitution into several documents, some of which have a much longer life cycle and some that don't. And also,
and if you had a constitutional commission, they could have those conversations.
They could, and I think "could" is the really operative word there, because again, it depends on who's in charge of designing that commission, right? So,
by the way, GB News, if they watch this fucking show right now, their fucking brains would break.
Oh yeah, because they would say something like, "Oh, well, we've got laws. What's the problem?" Right. Because they don't realize that laws are constantly being written, even though they call the people that are writing the laws lawmakers. They just go, "Oh, democracy, that's democracy, democracy, isn't it?" And there's the same argument of a pound is a pound. What do you mean? What do you mean I can't buy as much? A pound's a pound, isn't it?
Yeah, but Brexit needs breakfast.
But they wanted to trash about 2,000-3,000 laws anyway, didn't they? The old EU ones, they wanted to skip fire a lot of them.
Well, this is the hypocrisy, isn't it? Because they always talk about very radical things that they are constantly, that they're in favor of for really arbitrary reasons. And then whenever there's good reasons for quite simple common sense things, they're like, "Oh, you lefty radical, things can't change. Have you not, you're not a true British patriot." It's like, well, yeah, but you're changing things all the time and suggesting batshit stuff that just occurred to you this morning.
I think the Joss is very woke, actually. Welcome to GB News.
The reason I will never get invited on.
Even just looking at our panel as it sits, right? Imagine this panel on GB News.
Oh my god!
Never fucking happen.
I've turned them down twice. No, 3 times now, and I really wish I hadn't, to a degree, but. I was invited on to Julia Hartley-Brewer's show.
Oh
my god, you didn't break out in hives.
Take garlic.
You got to draw a line.
I tell you what though, Marina did a fantastic job. Marina Perkis, if you haven't seen it, taking on Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Yeah, that's great.
She's got some resilience.
I advise searching.
Marina is fucking next level. She just goes in there with fucking receipts all day long.
I advise going and searching TikTok for that and looking for all the remixes, because there are some amazing edits of that. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Okay, so it's past 11. We're supposed to wrap up at 11. But if you don't mind hanging on for a little bit longer, I want to go around and talk about your story of the week. Like whether it's a good story or a bad story, but what was the sort of the news story that really stuck out for you? Who wants to go first while the others think about it? Josh, I think, go for it.
For me, the obvious one, related to the election, is that apparently we're definitely not having a May 2nd election, right? And of course, we know historically that it really doesn't matter what they say.
Because they're liars.
Whenever they say we're not having it, that's exactly
that's when it's going to be.
Yeah. So, I think that's the story, but it's also kind of a non-story because it's kind of meaningless as well, isn't it? So that's mine.
Yeah, and there is still time. People are saying, "Oh, there's no time now for May the 2nd election," but I believe that they can announce it at any point up till March the 26th. That's
right.
Yeah, I was going to say it's another week or so, isn't it? A few more days.
Yeah,
25 working days from May the 2nd, basically. Yeah.
Fair enough. Who wants to go next?
For me, it's the 76,000 people whose digital immigration status is not working. Computer says no.
What?
There's a system
Wow.
failure. Oh yeah, the servers go down all the
we
time.
talked about this. So if you go back through the archives on this channel, you will find a show where it's Pubcast, wasn't it? Where we talked about settled status, and we did 2 of them. And you were talking about the fact that you don't actually get anything in writing, you don't get anything on paper. It's all digital.
It's gotten so much worse, Graham.
And how bad that was an idea, because digital things can fuck up.
Yeah. So it's now 76,000 people who are affected. That was in The Guardian this week. And I'd like to put that in the context of the fact that the 2 million people who were issued with biometric residence cards, some of whom may also have a digital status and some of whom won't, and we don't know how many are in either camp. So those who don't already have a digital status, their biometric residence permits will expire on the 31st of December 2024. All BRPs, all the cards expire on that date. So does mine that I got on the Windrush. So anybody who thought, yeah, we've got the Windrush scheme, I'm safe now. All those cards expire on the 31st of December 2024. And as of the 1st of January 2025, absolutely every single immigration status will be digital. And as yet, the Home Office does not have a plan for how to inform people that they're going to have to make an application for an e-visa, or even, maybe provide some help with lowering the digital barriers for people to make these applications. Zero plan.
Funny enough, I used to be involved in the designs of those kinds of processes. And procurement, weirdly, in government. And
you might not want to say that too loudly. I know people who would cherish half an hour with whoever designed.
None of these things are inherently good or bad. Buying stuff is okay, right? It's what you buy and how that's important.
Yes, it's what you buy. It's buying racist facial recognition software that I take issue with.
For every horrible thing, there'll be a good thing. So we like to buy MRI scanners because Siemens is really good at making them, right? So there you go. There's a good thing we buy. But no, so the point is about that service. It's like any other service, right? The priority should be the accessibility of that service to every citizen, regardless of the need and ability of that citizen at that time. And that should be like what government is essentially for. Government is basically, when you look at the functional side of government, it delivers services to its citizens.
Yes,
that's basically all it does, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it should be bringing them to the citizens, not waiting for the citizens to come to it.
My God, this is 1984 next level. This is like a Black Mirror version of 1984, isn't it? With the right
I could talk about this stuff a hell of a lot, because there's literally a manual that that government wrote about how to do this, and it was an incredible team of people that wrote a lot of this.
How to fuck things up for people.
All of whom were digitally literate and not illiterate.
Don do that in the chat is saying crypto residency.
Well, so the point about digital literacy is you should be if you're going to write stuff about it. But also the point, the other side of this.
The people who have to apply for a status are not digitally literate.
Many are, but again,
but many are not.
But it goes back to the first thing I said, which is about making sure the services are accessible to everybody. And so
they're not.
That may be true, but the principle should be that they are. They
should be designed in such a way that they can be accessed. But they're not.
Yeah. That was
so
kind of my
we're
point.
talking about design faults.
Yeah, Cozy is agreeing with you.
Yeah, well, so I'm saying the point about
Cozy's coming out all guns blazing tonight. She's like, fuck you all.
So the reason for it specifically,
you're arguing with consensus.
That's what you're saying. I agree with you.
But the reason for it specifically in government is quite interesting, and it's a bit different to others. So if you're a commercial company, you can choose who you want to be able to use your services, because that's your market,
exactly
right?
You haven't got a choice with government.
Government cannot, because it has an incumbent user base, essentially, right? And they're not even just the citizens of the country, but people that come here too, or people that try and move here or have to interact with us through a trade agreement from abroad or whatever it might be. So we have these incumbent users, and the job of the people that are designing the services is to make sure that every single one of them should be able to interact with that service on a level pegging, essentially. And that doesn't just mean making one good way of doing it for everybody. It might mean making 4 different versions of doing it for the different needs of the people that need to interact with that thing.
Absolutely.
One of which absolutely should be on paper via the post or something.
Yeah, you try
it
getting a paper application in 2020 for making a settled status application. You had to jump through all kinds of hoops, and they were not available for normal settled status, so they were only available for Chen applications, for Ibrahim Teixeira applications, so only for derived and retained rights.
Yeah.
You know, which is extremely, I mean, for somebody who's not a lawyer, they don't even know what these applications are. Yeah.
I'll drop something interesting for you in our chat later, because like a lot of this many years ago was tried to be addressed. And the work that we did in government was like literally, and I'm not saying this ironically, it was world leading at the time. You know, and lots of other countries were looking to us for how to do this stuff. And a lot of it, you know, the idea of having principles and a manual and all this stuff doesn't necessarily mean that it actually all works out that way. You know, so I'm not trying to say that this is how it is. Clearly there are a lot of failings, but in principle, we should be, you know, it's all there to work from, and it's just not being, for all sorts of reasons. One of the other reasons, of course, is, you know, departments being led by people that don't care. That's a reason.
But
another
also,
one.
Look, they sat down, and when they first decided to design the EU settlement scheme, they sat down and went, okay, what does a typical EU citizen look like? And they went, they're well educated, they can read and write, they know English, they're white. They thought of somebody like me, and even I really, really struggled with making the application. Digital exclusion. My phone didn't have the right microchip to read my passport. So I had to use my husband's phone. Lucky for me, he didn't, like some other people in the in limbo group, or the spouses of other people in the in limbo group say, oh, you need me to stay in this country. If you go to the police because I've beaten the crap out of you, I'm going to have you deported and you'll never see our kids again. Quote. So, you know, they had this idea in their head of what an EU citizen looks like. And that is why every Black EU citizen in the month of April 2019, the first month it was live, had to send their passport in the post, because the facial recognition software didn't read Black faces.
Wow.
And I can show you the research on it. Go on the Citizens Advice Liverpool website, go to research, look under reports, and look up the research report by Luca Frigolti from the Interchange Project, a university student. He did an excellent job, and he discovered that the Home Office was told in advance not to use that particular product of software because of its problems with dark skin tones, and should use a different one, and the Home Office went for the racist one instead. And I tell you what, a huge number of my clients are Black Europeans. Black Europeans are a real thing. There is a whole cohort of our fellow EU citizens who moved to the EU 20, 30 years ago from Africa. Their children are born in Italy, in Spain, in France. They are EU citizens. They are no less European than I am. Yeah. They absolutely deserve it. And they do not deserve this racism. Sorry, I'll stop ranting.
No, I rant away. You're completely right. And bringing this to people, because I didn't know about this. I don't think a lot of people who are watching this knew about this. It's interesting that the Tories are like, first of all, there are no Black people coming from Europe, but also at the same time, there's definitely a Muslim country in the EU that wants to overrun us with Muslims.
I mean, you remember the you remember my list of crap reasons people voted for Brexit, right? And one of them was there's too many brown faces in the town square. And there was this sort of narrative that said, oh, you know, why would you stop EU citizens coming? They're predominantly white. And I when I started supporting people with the EU settlement scheme applications, and I discovered that the people who struggled the most that I saw, there were a lot of Black people. And because they have a second ethnicity to their European identity, so they are also Sri Lankan or also Somali, also Nigerian, also Senegalese, those are the communities they also hang out with. So they didn't go to the information evening at the Italian embassy that was predominantly white. Yeah. But I knew there's a whole family and their friends and their friends. There's a whole church community, and they're all EU citizens.
Sorry, Wayne, can I bring you in? Because you were about to say something then. Well. I feel like we cut you off.
No, I just
Oh, hang on. Wayne's frozen. That was good timing, wasn't
it?
Good timing.
Sorry, Wayne.
A bit when we was coming back from. Am I back?
Wayne, we're losing you. We're losing your internet connection. We're only getting every other word.
Am I back now?
Yes, quickly.
Right. Okay. Right. So yeah, no, I can attest to this because when we came back from holiday a couple of years ago, I had to take off my hat and my headphones, scan, and it went through 4 times before it let me through the passport.
Did you have a tan?
Tan?
No,
can you see me?
Now you'd be okay. You're quite pale.
That's my lighting, my darling.
That might be the lighting, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not this flushed usually either.
That is absolutely fucking disgusting. No, I mean, we could talk a little bit about endemic racism, like institutional racism baked in to our institutions, baked into our architecture, baked into every bit of life. When you can have people who aren't recognized by facial recognition, that is required for you to stay in this country because you're Black or you're Chinese, or you don't look Western European, and this is the stuff that needs to be addressed. But we have a party that thinks that a guy who said that Diane Abbott should be shot, and Diane Abbott
Graham, this is where we're crowbarring it into a fucking segue.
No. I'm just saying we have a country where this happens, and they say, "Oh, that's not racist." They say, what's his name, Leanderthal, and Suella Braverman saying that the nation's capital and the nation are being overrun by Islamists, run by Islamists. Actually, you thought it was the Tory party in charge.
Sold out to Islamists.
It's not the Tory party. It's actually Islamists who are in charge. Funnily enough.
Yeah.
And you've got a system where there are a lot of people who are very, very powerful because they're the people that you see on the TV, and they're the people who sing you songs, they're the people who see in your films, who get very, very, they get their back up if you say to them, hey, maybe we should give some reparations to those countries that we absolutely fucked over with the slave trade in both West Africa and in the Caribbean. And they get all upset. Oh, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. It wasn't my family. And I'm like, well, you still benefited from it. But we live in a country
you should
where...
read. It's actually a university textbook, and it's something like the International Colour Line. I think it's just the International Colour Line, or the International Colour Line in law, maybe. I'd have to look it up. But it's basically about how the history of racial discrimination law in international law and in the United Nations. And it's very interesting how that evolved and how that changed, and what wordings were okay when and what weren't. So slavery is wrong, wasn't very contentious the last time it was floated, but the words "and it always was" are a step too far for any countries that had colonies, because we might have to say sorry. And that's why they can't say sorry, because if they say sorry, then there's a case to be made for reparations.
Yeah, and we should pay reparations. We should absolutely pay reparations.
Well, the Anglican Church has decided to do it, hasn't it? The Anglican Church has set aside, I don't know, what is it for? It's not
oh, no,
much,
actually,
was it like £100 million? Anyway, it's a nice token amount, but anyway, to invest in Black initiatives, businesses, charities, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they actually cited, it as a reparation for their role in international slavery.
Okay, we're gonna have to wrap up soon, though. So, Wayne, do you have a Wayne, come back.
Yeah,
Wayne.
I'm here.
What are you doing? Do you have a story this week that you would like to pick out?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the whole Diane Abbott thing, because like this woman receives so much hate online.
Yeah.
Every single week, she receives, I think, 40% of the hate of all MPs.
Yeah.
And like I can't, in all honesty, I can't stand her politics. She's like nothing to do with me. But to have that much abuse every day, like online, and then you've got this Tory geezer, like just it's just shit. It's just everyone just be excellent to each other and crack on, right? If I don't like your opinion, that's fine, but I'm not going to sit there and spend that much time calling you a cunt. I'll call you a cunt once, and
well, if someone does something to make them a cunt, like this Hester guy, then yeah, but just declaring that's because someone is black or because someone is gay or trans or from Liverpool or whatever little discrimination you want to pick out, they're all this, they're all that.
Yeah.
That's your big problem.
Yeah, making everyone this monolith.
And like everyone from that community represents everybody else in that community. So you have one wrongen, you can point at them and go, well, that's one wrongen there. And that person. They represent you all,
and that's what I fucking hate. Because for me, I feel as a mixed race geezer from Essex, I feel that I carry everything on my shoulders. As soon as I do someone a dirty, whether I cut them up on a roundabout or something like that, I'm the next black CNXT.
Right, and you represent the entire black community.
I'm everything, right? And as soon as I open my mouth and I'm like, you're from Essex, so you're an Essex CNXT, all that.
Yeah.
Please, people, just stop fucking.
Yeah.
Just.
But
this your heads.
What you're saying there, Wayne, is exactly what that Hester racist said, which was like, Diane Abbott makes me hate all black people, or all black women, actually, right?
Yeah.
And in the same way, I think about what Liam Neeson said several years ago in an interview. He had a friend of his who was attacked, or there was a crime committed by a black person against a friend of his, and he said, it made me want to go out and beat up some black bastards. And it's because he could. If that had been a white person doing that, what would he have done? Would he have said, I'm going to go out and beat up all people from Manchester or Liverpool or Birmingham? No, he wouldn't.
No.
But because it's easy to say this one person represents this entire community. And I'll bring Rachel in on this, because this is what J.K. Rowling does with the trans community. She'll pick out 100%. A crime that's been committed by a trans person somewhere in the world. There's literally millions of trans people in the world. And say, Look what they do if you allow them to piss in the toilets.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I hope people will watch the Intersection interview with India Willoughby this week, and she was saying, and I agree, you wake up, you hear there's a crime in the radio, there's a shooter in America, or somebody's attacked somebody, and all I think I go to now is I just hope they're not trans. I hope that wasn't a trans person that did that. because we will be the whole community will be vilified right across the board for it.
Yeah.
And that I just dread that all the time, every morning when you listen to it's just awful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we just go to John quickly because we're like 36 minutes over time. John, have you got a story of the week?
I've got two actually, but I'm not going to make it really long, Darren. I was going to mention Sadiq Khan because he's come out today. It's only yesterday and today. And he's come out and he's really concerned about photo ID for elections because I mean he's got like a 49%. He's at 49% for London Mayor. Susan Hall's at 24%. But he's got serious concerns that obviously, a lot of people, a lot of the older clientele, let's say, are more likely to vote for Conservatives. And they have, because of London, because of the right travel, lots of people in London have got travel cards. Older people, travel cards are allowed as ID. Younger people are not. I know there's a whole thing about why, etc. But that was his big. It was a big thing for him that he's come out with and said, "Do you know what? Everyone's saying that I'm odds on. I really don't think I am. I don't think that's electioneering either. I think he actually has a genuine thinking this is going to be tighter actually because of that. But
against Susan Hall,
I know Susan.
I know.
Hall,
I thought nicking an oyster card would, but it didn't work.
But there's another story that possibly I might have got a semi-exclusive on. It might be out. I don't know yet. So my son is a friend of one of Johnny Mercer's PAs. I think I mentioned this on here before. And apparently he is. I've literally just got the exclusive. Well, because I muted a minute ago because he's just sort of come in to tell me that he could face a prison sentence, Johnny Mercer, for not bringing up whistleblower names or something. I don't know yet. He's literally just been out with a beer with him, and he's come back going, yeah, he kept having to go out. Johnny kept ringing. He kept having to go outside and on the phone to find somewhere where it was quiet. Something's going on. We're not sure, and it's to do with Afghanistan, but he could go to prison. So I'm like, whoa.
It looks like it's on the front page of the Telegraph tomorrow. So yeah.
Right. So it's come out. Right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Are they defending him or not?
I can't. It's too small. I can't read it further than the headline.
So I'm not even sure what the story is.
Mercer faces jail over Afghan inquiry.
Are we breaking news right now on the?
Well, it's on the front cover of the Telegraph, so I'm sure people know. But Minister refuses to name whistleblowers who raise concerns over unlawful killers.
Graham, you need to get a Chiron. You need to get a Chiron run down the bottom.
I need to do what?
Breaking news. Breaking news. I could do this. And also but also on the front cover of the I'm gonna go over to the front cover. Everyone else has disappeared, but the front cover of the Telegraph should appear here, but it hasn't. Oh, that's kind of embarrassing. Can I have tomorrow's papers? There you go. Mercer faces jail over Afghan inquiry.
Oh, does he now?
That is the official line from the Daily Telegraph. This is tomorrow's Daily Telegraph. But also, Caitlyn Jenner is on the front cover of the Telegraph saying trans women are not women. Thanks for that, Caitlyn. You fucking
dick. Caitlyn Jenner is basically like the.
She said that a lot, though, hasn't she?
No. She's basically the Candace Owens for trans people.
Yeah.
She's a fucking nightmare.
Yes.
Absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm all right. So
I was at an award ceremony. I was at an award ceremony once, and she was there, and I was with my partner now, and we were there, and they took like a picture with her, and she walked over to stand with us, and I said, I need to just go get my camera. I'll come back, and we did. I did not want to appear in a picture standing next to Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Apparently, she's done an interview with fellow Olympian Sharon Davis, who's quite a famous transphobe.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Sharon Davis, like she's synonymous with being very transphobic.
Oh, she
is massively transphobic.
It was just about swimming, but now it's just about everything. It always is.
It also backs up my little theory about. So I don't think that it's, and I know, Rachel, you agree with me on this one. It's not required to pass. To pass isn't something that should be required.
No.
If you want to be a trans person with a fucking beard and boobs, I think that's fine. If that's what you want to, if that's the way you want to look, that's your body, and that's the way you want to present yourself to the world. And it's not up to other people to decide what your pronouns are, or how it should be treated, or how it should be discriminated against. It's not, right? And then you've got people like this saying, oh, you know, I'm going to make it really difficult for, let's say, women who don't look particularly feminine to use the public bathrooms in the future. And you look at the women who are saying this, and a lot of them don't look traditionally feminine. And I'm thinking, you're just making it harder for yourselves.
More non-trans women have been thrown out of loos than trans women.
Graham, did you see my Facebook post?
No, sorry.
I'll have to tag you. I put a picture of J.K. Rowling and India Willoughby.
Yeah.
And I asked people to guess which one was the trans woman.
And were people saying J.K. Rowling?
Well, I did say only play if you don't know who the lady on the left is.
Right.
Yeah.
So there were quite a few people kind of going, oh, do you really think anybody doesn't know what J.K. Rowling looks like? And it's like, well, actually, I didn't until a couple of years ago. I mean, I knew the name, but doesn't mean I know what she looks like.
I guess that brings me on to my story of the week, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. Is it going to be? Is it going to be Liz Truss? Is it going to be the lettuce?
It is
loser?
The ferret beating the lettuce.
The ferret the ferret ate the lettuce.
The ferret ate the lettuce.
Mate, I couldn't stop laughing at this. Go on, tell us the story.
Well, so she was putting a private member's bill in. It was going to be the second reading today. Yeah. They don't usually go through. It was probably going to fail due to time, but it might have got a committee. It might have gone into committee. And it had a load of nasty. You put Sex and the Equality Act, which would exclude trans women from toilets and trans guys from toilets, and it would just have been God. And then it was gender, it was Section 28 in schools basically, and banning puberty blockers.
So Section 28 was in place when I was in school.
Yeah.
So it started in the 80s under Thatcher, and it ran till 1999, I think. And I left school in 97. Wow. So the entire time I was in school,
I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh, was it that late?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
It was still legal to rape your wife until about 1994.
No, that was until. Oh wait.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you on that.
We look at these countries in the Middle East and go, "Wow, you're so barbaric in your treatment of gay people and women." And then we look at ourselves and go,
But it was a smorgasbord of, elimination and exclusion of trans people from sport. I mean, you name it, it was all. Then all the fun MPs were rocking up, that you'd expect to come along and talk. It's always the same 5 or 6 that really stand up and say the most horrible things about trans people, non-binary people. And so she was expecting to stand up and get it quick vote through to go onto committee. And but there was a lot of debate before about ferrets in the Labour Party. They talked it out. So
was it Angela Eagle? Eagle.
So they basically filibustered it. The Labour Party.
It just had this wonderful line. If anyone checks out my Daily Fail today, I've actually got the clip of it. But a Labour MP stood up and said, I just want to put on the record that my brother has a ferret called Oscar. That was it.
It was something to see, and I've never seen a filibuster in Parliament before like that. There wasn't any time. They ran out of time, and it didn't get, so it fell. And so the ferret beat the lettuce, and that was great.
Excellent. And just for the record, it was 1992 that rape and marriage was outlawed, and it was 2003 that Section 28.
1992,
and it came in. I remember marching against Section 27 and 28 in 1988. It came in 1988, 89.
And just the other thing, I know it's a separate thing, but in America, Don't Say Gay has fallen in Florida, so teachers can talk about their gay partners and trans kids, and that's not part. It's been, I think there was a court case taken, and although it remains on the statute books as Don't Say Gay is there, but it doesn't have any teeth as an act now. So kids and teachers can talk about relationships gay relationships, etc. in Florida. That started off a massive, separately, Ron DeSantis and libs of TikTok have had an intergalactic falling out over immigrants getting driving licenses, and both it's like a huge world war between each of their followers. It's been brilliant.
They've shit the bed all over the place on that fucking front. It is fucking glorious.
Been good.
So it was 2003. 2003 that Section 28 was repealed in the UK.
Yep.
Fucking
quite shocking, right?
I knew it was after I left school because it was still in place when I was in school.
You say 2003?
2003, you still, in 2002, in England and Wales, you still couldn't talk about being gay in a school.
Dude, I left school in 97. That's mental.
I had a 17-year-old A-level student that I was teaching come out to me in school in 97, 96 or 97.
Right, yeah.
I didn't give a shit. I mean, he was doing A-levels. I didn't give a shit about Section 28, so we talked.
Suede won Smash It's Polonist Party award.
Yeah. Don Dudat is pointing out abortions are still only decriminalised in the UK, which is true. They haven't been legalised still in the UK.
Right.
And you still need the sign-off of 2 doctors, and you need a doctor to administer the medication.
What's the situation in Northern Ireland again?
Oh, it's illegal.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, you now have to cross the border into the Republic of Ireland in order to have a
You thought that
abortion.
Ireland would jump ahead, eh?
Which is mental if you think about it, because it's like in the UK, you can just have an abortion after, just walking into a clinic. But if you're in Northern Ireland, you have to go to the Republic of Ireland to get a fucking abortion.
But this is why
the levels of irony on this are off the scale, because also, the Republic is traditionally considered more Catholic.
Yeah,
it was the Catholics that have a problem with abortion.
No, we jumped ahead.
But this put paid to the lie of the DUP when they went, oh, we don't want different regulations. We don't want different laws in Northern Ireland compared with the rest of Great Britain. And it's like, you've already got that in lots of ways, most notably the fact that abortion is still illegal.
But you're so lucky. We're so lucky that the Tories aren't going to win, hopefully, the next election, because their roadmap is once trans kids are done, trans adults, same-sex marriage, they're coming after abortion because Nazis and the pop comms are talk. That's on their agenda. They talk about that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, how can you have like this whole conversation about trade equality between Northern Ireland and the Republic, and yet when it comes to abortion, it's completely different anyway. So how can you like square that fucking circle? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. One angry pagan in the chat said, wasn't transgenderism known about in the Weimar Republic before the Nazis? Well, this is the thing that J.K. Rowling waded into this week. So last week it was India Willoughby, who we spoke to. Rachel and I, Rachel mostly, spoke to her this week on the intersection. And this week, J.K. Rowling has waded in to say that in the 1930s and 40s that the Nazis didn't target transgender people.
Yes, they did.
Take it away, Cozy.
I'm sitting back.
She actually had the audacity to cite Magnus Hirschfelder, who was well known for being homosexual, but he was also the very first surgeon to perform transition surgery. Okay, on Dora Richter. Dora Richter was a waiter in the gay scene in Berlin in the 1910s and 1920s, which was a thriving gay, trans, be whatever the hell you like scene. Nowadays we would certainly see lots of rainbow flags. Back then, the terminology, the word trans didn't exist the way we understand it. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean the people didn't exist. They very much did. Yeah. Magnus Hirschfelder had a clinic and he treated the term he used was extreme cross-dressers. But for him, he identified the word extreme meant these weren't just guys who like to wear a dress once in a while to get a bit of kink out of it. This was about wanting to dress as a woman, express yourself as a woman, become a woman. And there was a whole movie made about his second patient, a very well-known Danish artist who became Lily Elvers. Elvers means Elbe, the river Elbe,
Danish,
where she recovered in Sonnenstein on the river Elbe just outside Dresden, where my father grew up, by the way, which later became a T4 site. You've all heard of the T4 program, right? Euthanasia and sterilization of people with mental or intellectual disabilities or anybody else that didn't quite fit into the Nazis' imagery. Sorry?
The 2 crosses, the doctors didn't sign their names. They both put their mark.
Yes. So, I mean, it was named after Tiergartenstraße number 4, which is the address in Berlin where it was devised. But anyway, there very much was a Holocaust directed against homosexual and trans people. We all know about the pink triangle. They were very much lumped into the same category and you couldn't separate them out. And that's why the T belongs with the LGP. It always did. Yeah. It angers me so much that they have zero awareness. Dürchenrichter, by the way, was beaten to death by a bunch of SR thugs in 1933. Or maybe it was 34. Magnus Hirschfelder managed to get away, but of course his surgery, his clinic, everything was destroyed. His life's work was destroyed, and his books were burned. So please don't deny the Holocaust. I mean, under that thread of her, I saw it. It just
it's Holocaust denial. This must be
it is Holocaust
under
denial.
the umbrella of Holocaust denial.
I've reported her tweet to the police in Cologne because it was a Cologne court that ruled that denial of the trans Holocaust or denial of the murder of trans people by Nazi persecution is also Holocaust denial. So
God, who would have thought that the author of Harry Potter would be a Holocaust denier?
Sorry?
Who would have thought that the author of Harry Potter would turn out to be a Holocaust denier?
It's quite shocking. And there's lots of people who think the Holocaust only refers to the Holocaust of Jews. That is not true. It's not just genocide.
So many people and homosexuals and trade unionists, socialists.
75% of Europe's Roma were murdered. Do not erase them.
Yeah,
but it's a thing of certain groups want to take ownership of that particular fucking atrocity. And
no, it's not ownership. Wait, it's not like it didn't happen to Jewish people as well. It's just
no.
Exactly.
No. What I'm saying is, it happened to other people too.
Exactly.
I don't think that anyone that I know who talks about this denies that. I think that you have people like J.K. Rowling who have their own agenda. They've woken up in the middle of the night one night, I guess, and just gone, I really hate trans people. And I'm going to make it my life's work, not to spread happiness and joy and love and understanding. I'm going to make it my life's work to make everyone else hate trans people too.
No, but it's I know that like Roma and disabled people, non-white people were all part of that absolute fucking atrocity. But what is always sort of like put forward is one particular group.
Well, no, it's not. It's not, because if you study the Holocaust, you learn about all the different groups.
It really is.
I mean, it's like it's not a zero-sum game, and it's also not a competition. Do you know what I mean? I've had people who say to me, "Oh, what? 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust?" Well, Stalin killed 50 million people, and I'm like, yeah, it's not a competition. It's like, here's a bad thing, here's another bad thing. One bad thing doesn't negate the other thing.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Wrongs don't make it right either.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that there needs to be an acknowledgement of all the groups that were targeted.
Exactly,
by the
exactly.
Nazis.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to sort of like
And
Wayne,
I know a lot of Jewish people, and none of them have ever said to me in my life, "Oh, do you know what? It was only Jews who were killed by the Nazis." They say, "No, it was all the people as well who were killed."
Yeah,
more likely to be people that aren't actually in any of the groups that were affected, but are trying to use that story for their own benefits that might focus on one group rather than the whole thing.
And you know why they're doing that, because they want to control the narrative. They want to say, "Oh no, I'm not a Nazi," because the Nazis went after those people.
And actually, they want to pit people against each other to make it competitive, right? And so it's a complete, a manipulation of the entire thing.
A very dark version of the Four Yorkshiremen sketch.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was going to try and end up on, because it's nearly midnight. We've really got to wrap up. My girlfriend's giving me daggers. I'm in so much trouble. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. Everyone in the chat, everyone who's given super chats. Thank you very much to Rachel and John and Wayne and Josh and Cozy and everyone else who's been on tonight. This has been the Labour Social. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, give us a like on the way out, because we could do it then. And we'll be back next week. Or I'll be back at least. I don't know who else will be back. It's always a bit of a smorgasbord. Always a bit of potpourri here on the Labour Social channel. We'll be back
in Sweden.
9 o'clock. Without Wayne, he's going to be in Sweden. Come on, bring Jartan on. Come on, the two of you. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Okay, well, until then, I'll say thank you for watching. Thanks to all my guests. Thanks to everyone out there. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.